Oh my gosh. This is a great one.
This is our first vampire movie.
Oh my god, is it?
Yep, we've not done a vampire movie yet.
Holy shit. Well, I'm glad we started with this one because I love it.
It's a classic, for
I
sure.
I saw it. I saw bits on TV when I was a kid because like I had a TV in my bedroom and I had access to cable, so like I just flipped through the channels at night, see what I could find, and I came across this one and it freaked me out. Ugh. The they do vampires so differently in this that like they just hit in such a very like visceral way. I don't know. It's ugh. I love it.
I have a few gripes about it.
That's fair.
But otherwise, I really like it. I do want to read the comics.
Oh, there's comics?
This is based off of
Oh, that's right.
the comic series. Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The writer of the comics also helped write the screenplay. So
Good.
That probably also helped a lot.
I'm sure, yeah.
This is going in the stack of like Trick or Treat also has a comic. There'll be this. There's a few like ones I really want to read or get my hands on.
Mm-hmm.
Because what was it? Jennifer's Body also has the comics in the comic editions.
That's right.
For Trick or Treat, the graphic novel came after. Jennifer's Body, the comics came after. This is, I think, the first one we're doing where the comic came first.
Which is sick. I love it.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't know why I hesitated like that. I really enjoyed this movie.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's 2 hours long, so like there's a lot to it.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like an hour and 48 minutes.
Oh shit! It did not feel that long.
No, it doesn't. That's the thing is like it just kind of keeps you in it the whole time.
It's very much just like, unlike movies where we've talked about where it's you get in and they just let loose, where it's just like from the get-go you're on the gas. This one has a nice steady build-up of kind of introducing the people. They give you so many goddamn names though, and half of them are unnecessary.
Yeah.
I think I've named almost every character we will see.
That's crazy.
It took a hot minute to get it done, and I'm guessing with one name, and I probably would have known it if I read the comic, but there's one name I am guessing on.
That's fine.
But it's for one of the vampires.
Okay. I mean, I didn't even know any of the names of the vampires, so.
But I did thoroughly enjoy this movie. It's another one where I watched I watched 3/4 of it last night, and then I finished it on my lunch break today.
Good
but
shit.
I think I broke it up decently enough where I didn't feel like I had gotten pulled out of it.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Because, yeah, there are some, not like pauses, but I would say that there's the ups and downs, and when you get to the downs, there's definitely some points I think that, yeah, be easy enough to stop, but not like become disengaged.
I do feel like they did a really good job of skipping over boring stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There is no point where they're you don't see the struggle of living in this type of world, right?
Yeah.
They don't talk about they talk about rationing food once, but they don't talk about rationing food. They don't talk about like rationing light or the heat. They don't talk about any of the survival aspect, which I don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
The way they did it, it's really okay. They have like their set plans, and Eben does a bunch of plans that you kind of just hear and then they do. But it's not like, I'm trying to think of like another movie where they talk a lot about, oh, we're rationing our food supply, and 28 Days Later, they talk about how they're running out of water when they're in the apartment complex, and they have to go to the grocery store and like stock up on food and that kind of stuff. They do it a little bit in that, but they don't really talk about it at all except once in this movie, and you don't even really see them struggle with food or water. At the end of the movie, you do get to see them like chapped lips and like kind of emaciated and like grungy.
Yeah.
But it's not something they dwell on too much, which I don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
They do big time skips because 30 Days of Night, if you didn't know, we're going
This movie
through...
takes place over the course of a month, where in the most northern part of Alaska, the sun is just gone for a straight month. And again, when you think of vampires, holy fuck, that's terrifying. Because like, in most cases you'd think like, oh, vampires, like you just gotta wait it out till morning. You don't get
it's waiting it out a month.
Yeah,
to get this shit
that's
done.
a long fucking time, dude.
So that's my at the top thoughts. Do you have anything for you? I didn't get to watch that. There's a whole like 50-minute behind the scenes thing where I didn't get to watch all of it. I did watch them doing a bunch of scripting and scene or scouting locations and stuff. They did originally want to try to film in Alaska, but people would have died because it would have been too cold because of how many of the outside shots there were.
Yeah, 100%. Especially like with the actors playing the vampires, they're just like
in normal street clothes.
Yeah. So no fucking way.
Yeah.
This movie starts out like you said, like it gives you a little bit, but it's not that like we'll put you at a 10 and leave you there. This is kind of like you're at a 1 or a 2 because it's just like a dude. It cuts to the dude like staring at a boat out in the water.
This dude does not have a name. His credits are The Stranger, so I just call him Man the entire movie.
That's fair.
But we do open on just shots of wilderness. And by wilderness, I mean like tundra wilderness, where it's just snow and ice.
And nothing.
It's explaining that Barrow, Alaska is the northernmost town in the U.S., and it's isolated by 80 miles of fuck all.
Oh, that's right. It gives the whole like...
Yeah, it's like
spiel.
text on the screen, and then
right.
it says they're cut off from the rest of the world for those 30 days. And it doesn't super explain that until we get in a little farther, where what they mean by being cut off is they have a tiny little airport, and there was the last plane leaves that night, the night of right before the sun never rises again.
Yeah.
There's one more plane, and then no one comes and visits them throughout this entire month.
Yeah, no one leaves either.
And throughout the movie, we get these little texts on screen about, this time we see last day of sun. And then we'll progressively, as the movie goes, it says, day 8 or whatever. Yeah. So we're on the last Sunday, as it were. And we zoom in on a police SUV with 2 cops. We have Sheriff Eben and Deputy Billy. They're checking out this dug-in fire pit thing where a bunch of satellite phones have been burned.
Yeah.
It's weird. And they say that. I
think we forgot to mention the strange man that was looking at the boat just starts walking into the out into the tundra, into the nothingness. And then he does come up over a hill and then sees the town. And
he's wading in like knee-high snow.
Yeah.
It's not just flat ground. It's snow. I forgot to mention that. In my head I was like, oh yeah, we already talked about him.
He also looks strung out. Either on drugs or something. He doesn't look right.
He's very twitchy, but not
twitchy. Like just kind of like jerky in his motions of like almost like everything hurts.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
But then yes, then it comes to the 2 officers. They're looking at this pile of burned satellite phones. I think Billy is like why the fuck would anyone do this? And
yeah, they start throwing ideas back and
Eben's
forth.
like, teenagers and their pranks. I'm like...
Reverse it. Billy said it was probably teenagers, and Eben's
right.
like, they would, if it was teenagers, they would have left a note saying, fuck you to the police, or fuck you to their parents. This isn't...
Yeah, like as a prank. This isn't...
No one's claiming this. It's weird. So they kind of throw ideas back and forth, not coming up on anything solid, because who burns a bunch of satellite phones before 30 days a night? Yeah. That just seems... malevolent. Is that the right term?
Yeah. I don't see why not.
I always get it confused with another word.
Like evil and like malicious intent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Malevolent? I don't know.
Close enough.
Malevolent.
They then walk up to the shoreline where you can watch the sunset, the last sunset of the month. And Billy says this is where he took Peggy on their first date. And Eben comes back with, we took that's everyone's first date. And then he stops and he's like, not with Peggy, though. I mean, if that wasn't... But they have this whole kind of like back and forth a little bit about how the last sunset of a month really works its charm on dates and stuff.
Yeah.
They, on their way back to town, they stop by the city... Nope. Yes. The city sign. To change the population from 563 to 156.
Because a fuck ton of people as they go through town, you see people with like suitcases and stuff like that. Like people are getting ready to leave for the 30 days.
Yeah, we see Doug at one point who's talking to his wife about how he's not going to live off of Oreos and ramen, I think, or something, or frozen meals and ramen, because she can't do the whole...
Oreos and Snapple, I think is what he said.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
I just remember the Oreos part. But
Oreos and Snapple, which like, I don't know, replace the Oreos with something else and like you're probably fine. But like the Snapple's good, right?
Snapple, not too bad.
As long as you don't go overboard because it's still a lot of sugar.
I'm not like the biggest fan of Snapple.
It's got to be the kiwi strawberry Snapple.
I just think of like the apple juice Snapple.
Mm.
There is a whole thing too where we learn that Eben has an inhaler and has asthma, which feels important the way they do it. We then see the fire marshal, Stella, checking all of the equipment, talking to, I don't know who this one is. I didn't find a name for this man. Checking all of their gear, making sure everything's good, and he says something about him and his wife wanting to know why she and Eben are separated, and she just kind of sidetracks that and is like, I'm going home. Like, I'm catching that last flight. I'm not staying here. We're not talking about this.
To be fair, in a town of 500, like, you know everyone there pretty intimately.
And when you're married to the sheriff, yeah, everyone knows your guys' fucking business.
Uh-huh.
Especially if she was also the fire marshal originally for the town, then you have the sheriff and the fire marshal.
Yeah, so, everyone fucking knows.
It cuts to sled dogs who are going crazy. All like they're chained up at they're
barking like crazy and they're,
freaking out like something's coming towards them. And then we just watch someone with a knife like fucking slaughter him.
Yeah. Bunch of blood, cuts to some random shit, and then it cuts to a bloody paw on the ground and you're like, dude.
Luckily, yeah, they don't show it at all.
Yeah,
but
at least it didn't fuck my head up as much as the dog from Bring Her Back. Is that no, not Bring Her Back, Together. Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
That dog still, like, I think of that morphed dog sometimes and just shudder a little bit.
I was thinking of the dog from The Thing.
One, oh God, that one's rough too. But, like, I don't know. Because it's an older movie and you can, like, tell that it's a puppet, that makes it a little easier. When you put CGI into the mix and people try and make it look real,
no,
I don't want to watch dogs get harmed.
The Together dog is rough.
Yeah, but like this is fine because like you can tell that it's a puppet, like a paw, like it's just a fake, but
still sucks.
Yeah,
dogs do die in this movie.
Yeah.
Eben stops by the snowplow driver Bo, who's trying to fix his snowplow, and cites him for leaking oil, I believe.
Yep.
Into the road. Billy calls him out like, bro, why are you citing him? You know he's a good guy. And Eben says, citing him lets him know he's part of this town. He lives all the way out there by himself. He just needs to feel like he belongs.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's one way to make him feel like he belongs.
Yeah.
Maybe?
I mean, that's fair. The guy did say, all right, I'll add it to my pile. As if he already has a pile of citations he's not doing fuck all about. Yeah. But that seems to be the back and forth between these two. So
yeah, they have a tumultuous relationship, you can tell.
Yeah.
Helen calls on the radio talking about the sled dogs and how John Rees called over about him. The whole beginning we're cutting between quite a few things. Before he goes to John's, Stella is driving to the airport and gets T-boned by a trencher and Malachi is driving. Luckily, everyone's fine. She's just a little dinged up. Her car is totaled. She can't drive it. And the only person she can think to call is her separated husband.
The sheriff.
Who pawns it off on Billy.
Yeah. She's like, I need a ride to the airport. And he's like, oh, so you weren't even going to tell me you were in town? And so you're kind of getting this establishment of like, oh yeah, they got some issues they got to work through.
And I couldn't tell, they don't really go into the relationship issues either. We get a little bit of it towards the end. Because I didn't know, I was like, not trying to point fingers, I was like, but who was the asshole here? Right? And Stella seems to be an asshole for a lot of this. And I was like, damn, what the hell is your problem?
Yeah, because they make Eben the very soft, kind of like quietish, but like very...
He's got your southern charm without being a southern gentleman.
Yeah, he's that like imposing sheriff, but like, you know, he's not loud, he's not malicious, he's just...
confident and very sure of every decision he makes.
Mm-hmm. Which, as a sheriff of, and when you're in charge of 500 people very intimately, you know, you really have to have some of those characteristics in order to properly do that town justice, you know, because again, like we saw it earlier with the other dude.
Bo?
The dude with the oil?
Yeah, Bo.
Yeah, because obviously he's giving him a ton of citations, but he's not really doing anything about it because he's just a dude out here trying to live free and just be his own person out here. Like, you got to have that balance. You can't just be a dictator, but you also can't just let people step on you.
Yeah, he's a very balanced leader, and we see that throughout the movie as well, that he's very much... everyone counts on him very well and trusts him to do something. He says something, and people don't question him.
He's really good at making plans and then executing them.
He is. There are a few shots of him where he looks like Leon from Resident Evil. Did
honestly,
you notice?
dude, I didn't even fucking think about it, but as soon as you said it, I like a couple images flashed in my head. Oh my god. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Me and my wife have been fawning over rustic Leon in Resident Evil 9.
Ooh.
Oh my god, have you seen him?
No, I haven't. I haven't played Resident Evil 9.
He is older, and he's just, you can tell he's getting tired of this shit. So yeah, Eben pawns off going to get Stella and taking her to the airport.
So he can go check on the dogs.
Yeah, so he can go check on the dogs. Billy picks Stella up, and then they have a little interaction. I don't remember exactly. He's kind of like jokey with her, and she's not really having it because she's like, I gotta get to the fucking airport. But he's like, you know, you're gonna tell me about what's going on with you two.
Oh, so yeah, Stella's pissed because he shows up late. It takes him a while to get there, and he's like, yeah, I couldn't remember if it was Ransom or Randy in 33, and then, you know, it just took me a second to get here. He's on his boy side.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're gonna do this my way. So he takes her to the airport. She misses her flight. So he offers, you can bunk at my house, but the price of it is you have to tell me what's going on between you two.
Yeah.
And what's her other option? Staying with her separate ex, I guess is the best way to say it. Ex Eben. Like, yeah. Who else? The whole town is gone, just about.
Yeah.
While that's happening, Eben is checking on the dogs. Allie and John are the Rees. Allie is like, I'm gonna kill whoever did this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna straight up kill them. And John is just kind of flabbergasted. Like, who would do this? Why would this happen? Eben's asking if they fought with anyone recently. Like, what's going on? He says this was fresh and he's going to figure out who the fuck did it.
Yep.
And you know what? I trust this man.
Mm-hmm.
He believes that he will figure it out. Also, there's 150 people left in town. He just go knocking on doors and he could probably, in general, figure out, right?
Also, if someone stabbed a bunch of dogs, I mean, tracking blood in snow is like the easiest fucking thing in the world.
There is also the added layer of the sled dogs are probably one of their main forms of transportation during this time. And
so between that and the satellite phones, your brain's immediately going, someone's trying to cut them off.
Yeah, someone is full ass cutting them off.
And that gets reinforced after Eben is done with, dealing with the dogs. Because doesn't he go talk to...
He goes to the station.
Oh, that's right. He goes to the station.
And we meet Helen, who is...
his aunt. No? Grandma?
Is grandma, but weird because he just calls her Helen and his little brother Jake calls her grandma.
Yeah.
He calls her Helen, brother calls her grandma. So
I almost wonder if because... Honestly, no, that doesn't even make sense to me. I was going to be like, because he's got an official title and he has to I don't know, but he probably doesn't need to refer to his own fucking grandma by her name in a town of 500.
Yeah, so maybe it's answered in the comic books, like the dynamic here, because like almost the age gap between Jake and Eben is Jake's 15.
Yeah, you can definitely almost tell that like it's not like Eben dislikes his grandma, almost just like he's sort of indifferent about like her being there almost. I don't know.
It feels more like a coworker relationship than anything. Like, he respects her,
Yeah.
and she takes care of the paperwork and is
Yeah.
dispatched for him, but it doesn't feel like a loving relationship
It's like,
there.
oh, hey, Grandma, I brought you this on my way back in.
They're
Like,
all business when they talk.
yeah, it's just business.
And that continues with Helen saying Carter and Wilson called from the utilidor, and there's been a vandalism problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asks her to reach out to Wainwright and
Plainsview? No.
Point Hope,
Point Hope.
which are close-ish towns, is what I figured.
I'm assuming like within.
Wainwright is 80 miles away.
Okay, yeah. So that
It's probably the closest next town.
it's probably a bigger town then, because if they refer to that as the closest civilization, then I'd
I mean,
assume
anything's
Wainwright's
bigger
a little...
than 560.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So maybe it's more of this would be like a village, and maybe it's more of a town.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more southern. Obviously, it's 80 miles away, but tells Helen to call both of those places to see if they've been having any trouble, because this is now the third thing added to his list of shit being weird.
Mm-hmm.
Evan goes to the utilidor, which they never explain what this is.
I assume it's just a giant... I don't know. Did you ever look up what that could mean? Like if it's like a specific thing?
A utility tunnel, utility corridor, or a utilidor is a passage built underground or above ground to carry utility lines such as electricity, steam, water supply, sewer pipes.
Okay, so that makes sense.
This is all of the utilities.
Yeah, it's like their own little personal power plant, kind of.
I would assume, yeah. That's kind of what I was figuring with how it is.
Because when he goes there, he immediately walks into like a more factory looking part of it, and there's this big ass fucking grinder, like one of those that has like all the interlacing teeth that
Call it the muffin monster.
You've seen people like throw entire bikes into, and it just eats it like it's fucking nothing.
Or the tire ones, yeah.
Yeah, like they're very satisfying videos, but that kind of thing. And immediately, I mean, Chekhov's gun right there. You're just like, you're focusing on this for 10 seconds?
Something's happening.
A big, destructive, violent-looking grinder.
That has no coverage on it.
That has no... Well, they usually don't, necessarily.
It just, there's nothing around it to be like, hey, watch out. There's not guardrail, there's nothing.
OSHA safety laws.
Don't apply in Alaska.
Probably don't apply in a town of 500. They just probably make shit work, you know?
It's fair. Carter is the main, I don't know what you want to call him, utilitarian. He runs this is his zone. You see photos of his family all up in his office. He says that he's the one who found Wilson's flight patch, because he's a helicopter pilot and does like touristy stuff during the season. There's his headset and a bunch of stuff. And Wilson says his entire copter has been just destroyed. They ripped everything out. He's freaking out because he's like, that's my livelihood. They destroyed my life. Not only is that another mode of transportation out of the town, but that's not even what he's thinking, right? He's thinking this is how I make my living, and it's gone. Yeah. So you're just like, oh, cool.
Yeah, he hucks a part of a helicopter blade into the muffin monster. And so we get to see a quick glimpse of its destructive capabilities as it swallows that blade with zero struggle. And you're like, oh boy, okay.
And then it cuts to their communication station where Gus is watching. I thought it was a weather station at first because it looks like he has weather monitors on there, but I guess that also makes sense for communication, that he can, hey, the blizzard's on its way, like, tell everyone. Well, the power goes out. And he kind of just huffs a little. There's some sounds happening, nothing too crazy. A few things catch his attention, but he's like, yeah, whatever. Goes outside. He's probably going to start the Jenny up. Gus goes out to check. Like I said, he's going to go check out what's going on with the electricity, probably turn on the generator, all that kind of stuff.
And then a shadow sprints by the camera.
Yeah.
And then and then the camera like faces towards his face and then moves over, and then there's a shadow behind him.
He's getting circled. And
then all of a sudden the camera is circling him, and he is being circled by all these figures. And he's like, what the fuck? Who are you? And like all this. And then he gets fucking yoinked.
He gets munched on the neck multiple times by this guy.
Very quickly, very violently.
My gripe with this, they chew on him like a chihuahua. They bite his neck and go, "Arr!" They do the head shake and everything. And we see, these aren't your stereotypical vampire fangs. They got a maw of just rows of canines. They're sharp-ass teeth top and bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gotta, you just, that shit.
To be fair, and I don't think this is spoilery to say, but like multiple times throughout the movie, we are directly expressed by the main vampire enemy that he's not there to just feed. He's there to cause pain and like cause terror. And so, you know, maybe it's not necessarily because they have to, but it's just because it's like, I'm going to be feral so that it scares the fuck out of these people on top of being destructive. I don't know. That's just my thought.
I guess it's just Gus is alone, so there's no one else to instill fear upon.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. Again, at that point, I would probably just say it'd be about the just destruction and wanting to just cause pain. If you just bite into the neck for the sake of sucking blood, it's not gonna hurt as much as you like ripping and shredding their neck open and then like sucking the blood out of their neck.
I don't mean just biting. Like I mean like of ripping out the flesh. Not just a bite to suck your blood. Like, I just don't understand why they have to shake their head like a fucking dog instead of... Because in my head, you just take out, like, a giant chunk, like a zombie bite, just that shit out. You got all the blood, and that person's still kind of existing, and you get to fuck with them? I don't know. Just the...
I don't know.
It was weird to me. Seemed unnecessary.
Director probably just wanted to make them freakier. Which, to be fair, when I was a kid, that did make them freakier. Because anything violently shaking like that, you know, it's it's uncanny almost. You know, it's like, ugh, like I don't like that. Things shouldn't do that. When I look at things, most things are still. So when I see something, an organism violently vibrating, when it's not even physically supposed to be possible to move that fast, you know what I mean? Like that's where it just gets me.
See, mine's the opposite. I see things move like that, I'm like, oh, that's so unrealistic.
It depends on how it's done in movies, because like in older, like early 2000s movies, when they did it by like cutting shots together almost to make it like a bit blurry, I don't like that because that's fake as fuck. I think it's different when like
it's just sped up like this.
Yeah, maybe it's because everything else around it isn't that fast, so it's kind of like that speed is isolated just to that, so it kind of like makes it a bit more, I don't know, does that make any sense? I don't think that makes any sense.
I mean, it makes sense to you. Like, it works for you, it just doesn't work for me. This is one of those things that is just, it's not my vibe.
Yeah, I get that.
It cuts to the diner where Lucy is talking to the man, and he's like, let me get this straight, I ain't no rum, no whiskey.
She's like, well, you know,
banned, man.
There's a ban, like, you know, 30 Days of Darkness will drive people crazy without liquor making it worse, you know, which that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
You know, people obviously would go a little stir crazy during that time, and like that, the entire point of the year, that would be the time where people drank the most if they could.
Yeah.
And that would definitely cause the most destruction, because you just have hundreds of drunk people running around town being, 100 drunk people just being pissed off about shit. Like,
well, and then you think about
causing disturbances.
What's it called? The casualties of people passing out in the snow or things like that too. Like,
yeah,
it makes perfect sense.
Getting drunk and blacking out and then like tripping and falling in the snow and just like falling asleep. And then like not waking up because you just freeze to death.
There's a reason this law existed, and it makes, or this casual spoken word law exists, and it makes total sense. Mm-hmm. He then asks for a bowl of raw hamburger,
and she's like, you either get it frozen or burnt around here, which is a great line. But
he gets aggressive with her, grabs her hand, and I didn't know what to think of this man at first.
Yeah.
And
when you like first see him looking at the boat and then just like walking.
Yeah, and then once you learn, because this was my first time watching this movie, once you get to see the full vampire face and how they have that full maw, I didn't know if he was gonna be the head vampire.
Mm.
Because he's got gangrene,
Mm.
like straight
Yeah.
up scurvy type shit going on in his mouth.
Yeah.
Like it's green in there, man.
Oh my
His
God.
teeth are not well taken care of. He's a grungy guy,
Yeah.
and he's got this air of superiority about him. And once he asks for raw hamburger meat, I was like, is he a vampire? Like, that's just trying to fit in for some reason? Is he a scout? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And when he starts getting aggressive with Lucy, Eben walks in, tries to take him outside. He gets up in Eben's face, and this guy is shorter than Eben by like a foot.
Foot and a half.
And Stella comes out of nowhere and pulls her gun on him.
Points at the back of his head and is like, you better step the fuck outside because we ain't fucking playing around. Like,
And Eben makes a comment about how the fire marshals let you carry that, and she's like, yeah, the thing is I didn't ask.
yeah.
You're just like, get it, all right?
To be fair, I love the way that they set these characters up, because if they set them up any other way, it just wouldn't make sense. These types of people in the jobs that they have and the place that they live, they have to have these types of personalities in order for that to be cohesive. And so the fact that they like, you know, I'd like to think that that was a conscious thought on the director's side, because like you really have to like kind of nail the character.
You have to have strong personalities, and Eben even says later in the movie, he's like, we live out here because no one else can.
Yeah.
And he's right. There's a very specific person who can live like this. Even the people, we saw it. We saw everyone who can't live like this, but like living here during the rest of the year, leave.
Yeah.
So this is everyone who's like, this ain't no thing to me, just another day.
There's so much intent behind everything. And we talk about this all the time, but like all those little things matter so much, because then it adds up to make such a better movie in the long run. And like we've seen it where movies fall short because they lack shit like that, whether it's like a strong character or like they just don't go into shit the right way. It doesn't matter, but you get my point. Like,
casting and making the character make sense for the location makes a movie.
yeah.
And these characters have the personalities that make sense for living in the buttfuck middle of nowhere where you're about to have no sunlight for 3 months.
Yeah. 30 days.
Thank you. I don't know why in my head I'm like, it's the entire summer. The entire summer they have no sun.
1 month.
1 month.
Which is still, again, a long fucking time.
It is.
That is like, you know how much shit can happen in a month?
A lot.
Everything.
Yeah.
Ugh.
90 days of night. Oof. Stella says she's going to tag along because she wants to go say hi to Helen and Jake. Eben asks her where she's staying as well, and she says Billy's, and he's not very happy about that. But obviously, you wouldn't be if your separated spouse came back and decided to not even talk to you or say anything to you until she needed you for something.
Yeah.
She also made a comment. It's not really relevant, but I thought it was interesting. It's showing that she's starting her life somewhere else, where Billy's like, well, I guess you're just staying. And she says, I have bills to pay. My plants are going to die.
Yeah, and he's like, you're going to figure it out. Don't worry about it.
It'll all work out.
Yeah, it'll all work out. In Billy's way, being like, none of that's going to matter, because by the end of these 30 days, you two are going to be...
The entire town is like, and kiss.
Yeah.
they want their power couple back together.
Mm-hmm.
In the car, Eben starts talking about the vandalism, and pretty much he's insinuating that the man did it with just how he's saying it. And Stella says he can't take care of the town without her, which if they were still together probably would have been a cute like, man, what would you do without me? But now that they're separated, feels like a dig.
That is such a like slap in the face, dude.
Yeah.
Straight up. I'd be like, bitch, you fucking left. Like, you can't even say shit about what's going on around here because you haven't even fucking been a part of any of it. So you can take that comment and put it right back up your butt. Thank you.
And that's my point. My thing with Stella, where I'm like, I'm not on your side.
No.
I don't know what's happening, but what we've seen of Eben and what we've seen of you, Eben seems to have his shit together, and you seem like you're the one causing issues. But I was trying so hard to not just be like, this fucking bitch.
I could totally picture it as being one of those, we need to get out of this small town. I need to do more with my life. And he's like, but this is our town and we have to stay here and protect it. She's like, I can't do this anymore. And then she leaves. But then she comes back to the town and he's still protecting it. And she's like, like that kind of just in my head fits perfectly into that canon. They definitely like had that argument.
Yeah, I could see that. We learn a few other things too later in the movie of at least one argument they had as well, which also fits that type of narrative. But I also couldn't blame her if she was born and raised in this town wanting to get the fuck out. Because we talk about being raised in a tiny town. Our town had 40,000 people.
Yeah.
Ain't no 500.
Yeah. 40,000 still felt too fucking small. And so, we had to get the fuck out of there when we grew up. So, yeah, I can't imagine.
500 people was less than my graduating class.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
They get to the station. They put him in the cell. He says he's talking mad shit this entire time. We also didn't mention homie's got like a Louisiana accent. And so Eben had already called him out on not being from here, and then you add the accent on top of it, and this accent makes his character so much creepier because it feels like you're just dealing with someone out in the bayou who knows shit that you don't know.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you cross their path and you're like, I'm cursed now.
Yeah.
This is what I feel like.
100%.
And this is what this man gives off. Stella says hi to Helen and Jake, and it cuts to Denise, Gabe, and Aaron, who are all pipeline workers, and they are play flirting like a motherfucker. Gabe is all up on Denise's shit, and then Aaron piles in as well. And
then they do rock, paper, scissors on whose house they should go to for the night.
Yeah, because Denise is like, my landlady's not going to have a bunch of pipeline workers in my yard. And I'm like, what? Mrs. Abraham, who knows exactly who this fucker, like, what?
Yeah.
And so they're in the middle of doing rock, paper, scissors when Gabe gets napped, just fucking yoinked.
So fast. I mean, like, instantly. Or not even, like, less than a full second, though. But it's like, it's so fast. He gets pulled into the darkness, and the other two are just standing there like, what the fuck just happened? And then they start calling out to him.
And he gets flung back at them with blood gushing from his neck.
Yeah.
And so they book it.
Uh-huh.
It cuts back to Eben questioning Man, who won't answer any of his questions. He's trying to ask, like, what's your name? Who are you? How did you get here? You obviously didn't fly in. You didn't drive in. Who are your friends? And what does he say? We have all the time for you to answer my questions or something like that. And he opens a drawer at one of the desks, and there's just this bag of weed in there. And he calls over Jake, and he's like, yo, it's not me, it's Grammy. And
yeah. It's like, oh, Grandma uses that for her arthritis, whatever.
I believe she had cancer.
Yes.
And so she smokes pot, I guess.
Yeah.
And she's straight up like, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to have to come bust me, all right?
Back in the day when it was still, a Schedule 1 drug or whatever.
She's on the computer and she's like, oh, that's weird. The computer's down. Eben goes and picks up the phone, tries to call over to Gus, communication bureau, and is like, the phone's down. And Man is like, you don't even know what's coming. And Jake, they're like, oh, don't listen to him. He's just trying to freak us out. And Jake's like, well, it's fucking working.
And I mean, to be fair, this guy's talking about, like, at one point he's like, I don't talk to dead men. And that's all he says to Eben. And you're like, bro, that would freak me out. I'd be like, what do you mean? Why are we dead people? Why are we going to be dead men?
He's the man. Who is this man? What is his real life human name? Ben Foster.
Stranger?
Yeah. He's in Stuffs. He did a really good job.
He's in Stuffs.
What else? Oh, he tells them they can hide, they can bar the windows, but there's nothing they can do. And this time he's getting taken with them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then the lights across the city go out. The station generator kicks on. Eben starts telling everyone shit like, hey, y'all stay here. I'm gonna go check on Gus. We're gonna do XYZ. Stella agrees and is like, yeah, we'll watch the Man. We'll chill here. Eben goes to the comm center. He instantly pulls out his gun because shit be weird.
Mm-hmm.
The door to the comm center is open, and that's also really fucking weird. He catches something in the snow and pulls out his flashlight and just finds a blood trail, and he follows it leading up to Gus's head piked on a stake
Yep.
at eye level, and you're just like, oh, well then.
Mm-hmm.
He then drives through town with his sirens on his loudspeaker, being like, go home, get your guns out, stay indoors, if your generator's working, don't be outside. He pulls over to this group of townsfolk, and he calls their names. I have no idea. He calls one of their guys' names, and he's like, hey, is your Jenny working? Go home, be safe. Anyone whose generator is working, do not be out right now. And the guy's like, I heard gunshots, what's going on? And Eben says, I don't know, but I'll let you know as soon as I do. Just go be safe. Anyone who doesn't have a generator is told to go to the diner, and that'll be the safe zone. Oh, it cuts to John and Allie at their house. Allie's making dinner, trying to get John to eat, and he's just sitting there with his shotgun out, just contemplating life now that his dogs have been slaughtered.
Yep.
And doesn't even have a chance.
Because something bursts through the window.
And steals Allie.
Steals his wife. He runs out after her, and she gets yanked underneath the house. Because, like, pretty much all these houses are
built on stilts.
Yeah, so, like, you could essentially crawl under any of these houses. And she gets yanked into the blackness underneath underneath their house. And he's, like, freaking out, like calling for her name, and then doesn't she like crawl back out for a second?
She crawls back out, they grasp hands, she gets like pulls him in, and then like there's a hole back. Something
snaps her leg, I think, and then pulls her back in,
and he loses her entirely.
Yeah,
which is terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, the way with how quickly these people get snatched, it is. And before a time where CGI would have done most of the work, I think they did a great job at just like snatching these people up, because it's quick and it's violent and it's not they're not playing around. Again, when I said earlier, like these vampires aren't just here to feed, they're like kind of here to terrorize the town.
Which also goes in my pile of gripes, because here in a second we'll learn a little bit more about the whole vampire horde. If you need humans to survive, you need to suck their blood, why are you slaughtering your entire herd of cattle? It does not make sense to me. I don't understand that I'm going to raise this entire town when I don't need to feed this much. Like, this town is almost perfect for exactly what they want, and instead of cultivating a little bit, like 07, people believed in cryptids.
Yeah.
You could totally be the cryptid fucker. Not fucker of the crypt. You get what Just, yes. I don't understand. This is the equivalent of slaughtering your entire herd of cows.
I do think that maybe they were, I don't know. I guess it says on the sign, I was going to say maybe the vampires didn't know how many people in the town were actually still there, but like, they changed it on the sign, so.
Yeah, there's 100 and something people there, and they're there for a month.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it in a little bit, but our lead man literally says, burn it to the ground. We can't let them know, like, they can't know we exist. There's also, I have some more points about this horde of vampires later as well, but back at the station, man's being fucking weird in the cell, being like, who do you think's gonna be taken first? And he's just rage baiting at this point, trying to get a reaction, and it obviously gets a reaction out of the 15-year-old, and they're all playing Risk. Throws a Risk soldier at the cell, tells him to shut up, and the guy's like, oh, thank you for the plastique. I can use that to pick the lock of the cell. And Jake takes the bait again, running up there to try and take the plastic away from him. The guy grabs his throat and like shoves him against the bars. And he's struggling there for a second when Eben comes in and shoots him in the opposite shoulder.
Yeah.
And this is where I was like, oh, is he a vampire? Is he not? Because that looked like it was fucking painful.
Yeah. Because he does, like, reel back, and he lets go of Jake. Eben goes in and fucking picks the dude up and slams him against the wall of the cell.
And then handcuffs him with his hands above his head. Mm-hmm. With his fucked up shoulder, too.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's gotta hurt. And homie looks like he's in pain when this is happening.
100%.
He asks the man, what are they? What the fuck is going on? Who are these people? And this guy is foaming green at the mouth.
Yeah. Kind of gross.
This is where he's like, I don't speak to dead men. I don't talk to dead men.
Yeah.
And he's foaming green at the mouth. Evans just backs off at this point, leaves the cell open with him just handcuffed and walks out. He makes a plan that he and Billy are going to sweep the town. This is the big plan, right? Like, we've seen the earlier plan where he's like, oh, I'm going to go check this out. You guys stay here. Eben is a planner, and he follows through with these fucking plans.
Yep.
So he makes a plan that him and Billy are going to sweep the town. Wherever these fuckers are, there's not a lot of places to hide. Stella convinces him that she's also going to go because right now there's 3 people who are the law, and she is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They take one of the SUVs and stop in the middle. Well, Eben has her stop in the middle of the road, and he's like, I think I saw something. And they get out, and he's like looking around. She pulls out a pair of binoculars, looks at something that we don't see, looks at Eben and says, get the fuck back in the car. This was a continuity error, which I thought was interesting. They hop in the SUV, she reverses, and the next shot of them inside the SUV, they're going forward.
Huh. Is it that, like, is it a time cut forward, or is it just...
It's from outside to inside, and they don't show them turning around at any point.
That's funny.
So, because at first, Evan's just, like, looking backwards as if they're reversing, and then he just turns forward. So, whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
And then some fucker just runs at the back of the car, jumps on it, and then starts pounding on the top of this SUV, trying to break through it.
I want to also point out that pretty much whenever these vampires have shown up, they make very
pterodactyl screams.
Yeah, screechy.
I can't even do it.
Like almost like zombie shrieks. Sort of, maybe, but like
it's less guttural and more like on the screech than a scream.
Yeah, more like animal-y, but like not
like if a bird could make a human scream.
I just got the funniest picture in my head. Oh, God. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate that. I just
thought
thought of a blue jay being like, ah! Just his beak open.
Because it's got like a squeak to it. It's like it's on the higher end of the note spectrum. And it's just like...
It's like when you see creepy fucking monsters that make those shrill, howly noises in fucking monster movies. But they're not... I don't know. I don't think the monsters in The Descent make that high-pitched of a shriek, but like...
But it's close to that, like, that kind of click that they do to the echolocation type thing. They do a little bit of that, and then if you could do that in a screech...
So, like, this thing, as it's pounding on top of their car, is, like, screeching and, like... Yeah, it's... kind of disturbing. it's fucking creepy.
Evan like shoots up at it once too, and it stops for a second, screeches, and then goes right back at it.
Yeah. Evan's like, what the fuck are these things?
They end up they like slam on the brakes and he goes flying, and then they reverse again and like rush back into town. There's a car turned over on fire. There are gunshots going off. Then you can hear Helen on the radio saying, I think she says help or something, where it's like very guttural and you don't really get to hear what she's saying. They make it to the station and there's just blood everywhere.
Jake is missing and Helen is missing.
But the man is still there.
But the man is still there, tied up.
And he looks at Eben when Eben goes to check on him. He's like, they didn't take me. Kill me.
They left me. Yeah, he's like, just kill me.
And Eben thinks about it. He's sitting across from him and it like passes over his face like...
Especially because Evan makes the assumption that they took Jake. And so he's like, oh, you watched them come in here and take my brother? Oh, no, that shit pissed me the fuck off. So, yeah, he's sitting across from him, like on the bench, ready to blow a hole in this dude's head. But
Stella stops him.
I can never remember her fucking name. I keep wanting to say Abigail, which is not even close.
No, I could see an Abigail, though. She looks like an Abigail.
That's fair. But anyways, yeah, so she essentially convinces him not to by just being like, dude, no. I don't remember what she says, but...
She looks at him, says Eben, and then shakes her head. And he, like, makes eye contact with her for a long time. And then, like, takes a deep breath and stops himself and gets out of the cell.
Yep. And then just leaves.
This is where we full-ass see Marlowe.
Okay.
And he's ordering the vampires around, saying in, you called it parcel tongue earlier, whatever their language is, he's speaking in that. It's not English.
You assume it's just some ancient tongue because vampires are
like primordial.
Old as sin, so...
Yeah, it's just some kind of language. And he's talking about that you have to separate the head from the bodies because they don't want any survivors. They don't want anyone to be turned.
Yeah, they don't want to add to their group, which is interesting because, like, oh man, you need to watch Sinners.
Yep.
But most of the time when you watch a vampire movie, like, that's half the motivation, right? Is like wanting to build up the pack or like strengthen it. I think the only other time where that's not like usually the case is in Twilight, because they're like, Bella, you don't want this. Like, you want to be alive. You know what I mean?
The Mormon influence there, yeah.
Yeah, but
in my opinion, he's saying this because, as we'll see, his pack is already huge. He's a very big pack already. This isn't like your standard, like Twilight, there's like 7 of them or whatever, right? There's like 15, 20 in this pack.
And that's fair.
And trying to feed and have all of them survive from I'm gonna take care of my pack vibe. You don't want more people because it seems like they're already kind of struggling because he's like, oh, we should have came here ages ago.
Mm-hmm. Also, the dude who plays Marlowe,
Danny Hudson.
Yes. Is that his name?
Yes.
I love him. He's in Yellowstone as like one of the villains in that show, I guess you could say. So if you've watched Yellowstone, you'd recognize him. He's a bit younger and a little thinner, but he does fucking great. And we also didn't mention that these vampires, their eyes are black, minus like a tiny bit of white on the edge. They're pretty much just like almost completely black, but then you can like tell where they're looking just because of that little bit of white. So these things are fucking creepy. They're black-eyed and all of their teeth are sharp. It's not just the canines. It's fucking all of them.
It's
so
wild.
They're again more monstery and less so like, they're not romanticized vampires.
Yes,
to the least bit.
Which I think is fantastic.
Yes.
However, my gripe of, why are you killing your herd? Like, why are you killing your food source to this extent? Because if they would have planned this out better, I feel like they could have like had a good situation going on here.
To be fair, they mention it later, I think, but I think Stella's like, they're gonna go to Wainwright and the other town next. They're not stopping here.
She assumes that's what's gonna happen, but it's also, doesn't Alaska also have like the 30 days of day, like in certain parts?
Yeah, I think in those same parts, like, you'll have the extended periods of night and it works both ways. I think. I could be wrong.
I'm just thinking of the proposal.
I haven't seen the proposal.
Oh, proposal is fun. Denise ends up making it to the diner. If we all remember correctly, she was with the other pipeline workers. Mm-hmm. Aaron and Gabe are not with her. She makes it there herself. We have Wilson, who, again, was the helicopter pilot. Mm-hmm. He's there. His dad, his name's Isaac. We have Lucy, who is the diner worker. Mm-hmm. Carter, who is the utilidor maintenance guy. And
Jake's there.
Jake and Doug.
I don't remember which one Doug is.
Doug is the one who tries to fight Jake in the attic. He's also the one who's like, I won't survive off of Snapple and Oreos.
Okay.
Same guy.
Yeah, there's a couple of the guys look very similar because they're just like half long hair, like not super long hair, but they got the long hair and the beards. And so that's just like...
It also doesn't help that everyone's bundled up because of...
Generic white man. Yeah. I shaved, so I can say that.
You did shave.
But I do have very long... Well, my hair is getting very long, so...
I know, it's kind of past your shoulders now.
Besides eating it every day, I love it.
Dude, I am shorter than you are right now, and it is driving me bonkers. All of this hair at the base of my neck. I don't know how you're doing it.
It used to drive me crazy. I like it when it's a certain point of like shorter, but then it gets to that like bad place in the middle. But then like once I got past the bad place and it like just became long, it like got better. I don't know.
It turns into an all-out frenzy of the town getting slaughtered. It is so much chaos. I can't even
It's fucking
begin to
crazy.
describe.
It's
But this top-down shot of watching all of this chaos happen.
It's so good. It's like if someone flew a news helicopter over and was like filming this stuff. Almost like if anyone's played Dead Rising, like the first one, where you're getting flown over town towards the mall and you're taking pictures of all the shit that's happening down below. It's like that. We get some shots of that where you see like vampires sprinting at people and then them like shooting them with shotguns and the vampires flying back and then other people getting fucking yeeted into darkness or like, you know, jumped on and slashed at. Like it's fucking crazy. And again, I love the effects for all of it because like it all just looks so visceral. Like it's not a lot of CGI. It's mainly just like actors fucking running at each other and then like, you know, it's fucking crazy.
You said earlier violent, and this movie is violent.
This is a violent movie.
They are just, it's very bloody. It's very visceral and like how shit happens. And then again, you have the backdrop of like the white snow. So you just see all of it.
But it's that like, parts of it are kind of badass when like the people are fighting back because it's like a mini war almost.
Oh yeah.
And there's a part later, and when we get to it, I'll mention it. But like, there's a part later that literally made me like, I like started smiling, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like that was so sick. And I had seen this movie before, but it's just one of those things where like some of it plays into it in the right way, where you're like, "Fuck yeah, that was badass."
Dude, no, this is a really good like action horror movie.
Yeah, it's fucking fun, dude. It's a fun ride.
I think like I could even show this movie to my dad. He's not into like fantasy things, and supernatural shit goes into fantasy, but I think he would love watching this movie and just watching people get the shit kicked out of them.
Hell yeah. It's crazy, man.
Stella and Evan make it to the diner, and Evan instantly looks around, makes eye contact with Jake, and just pulls him into like this big hug.
Gives him a big hug.
They start making a plan about getting to the utilidor because it's not too far, but it's kind of far enough that without cover, they're just going to get slaughtered. So Denise talks about Charlie Kelso's house, who left for the month, but his attic is like hidden. Like you can't find it. You wouldn't notice it unless you knew it was there. His house is already boarded up. Like no one's been staying there. So it's the perfect place to hide.
Yeah. Eben's like, all right, we could go there, take one of the boards off, sneak inside, board it back up, and then we'll go hide in the attic. That's perfect.
So he puts Carter in charge of getting the group here at the diner to the Kelso house, while him and Stella are gonna, how did he phrase it? I'm gonna get as many bear traps and flares that will fill a 4x4.
Yeah, and Stella, well, I think Stella insists on going, well, she doesn't even insist, she's just like, I'm going with you, and he's like, all right.
Yeah, after the first time of her insisting, whenever she's like, I'm coming with you, he's like, you're not wrong, let's go.
Yep, that's,
He knows what needs to be done, and he realizes that she is going to be an asset.
Yeah.
And though he wants to keep her safe, he also realizes that this is the best outcome.
I think she mentions that too briefly. Like, she's like, you're gonna want me, like, the only other fucking marshal in this town that can do something. Like, besides Billy, I'm all you've got, so you're gonna use me.
Yeah,
and you're like, you know what? You're right, Stella.
You haven't seen Billy since the beginning. Billy's just MIA right now, so
yeah.
As far as they know, he's also dead with the rest of the village. They get in the SUV and they are hauling down the middle of town and then just abruptly stop, like they hit something, and it shows an outside shot of the SUV, and there are a handful of vampires just grabbing the back bumper, lifting it off of the ground.
They lift it from the back to flip it over lengthwise,
like a domino.
Yeah. And
oh my God.
They succeed as you watch, and I swear to God, they must have had to have like had a car on something to like turn it that way, because the actors are literally falling into the front windshield as this car is getting turned over.
It's such a wild scene to watch, and then just watching it crunch forward on the front window where they are, you're just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And then the vampires swarm them, trying to rip them out of the vehicle, and they're fighting tooth and nail to not get dragged out. When Beau in the trencher, no, he's in the snowplow at this point, and his snowplow comes by and just hits a line of vampires, letting Stella get out of the car. And then, like, she runs in, gets into the snowplow. Eben's still kind of fighting for it. And Bo pulls out his shotgun and starts shooting, I believe.
Yeah, because they start, like, one of them starts running towards the tractor, and so he blows half of the head off of one of these guys with his shotgun. And then,
they give enough cover or enough leeway that
Eben's able to run and jump into the tractor as well.
As it's moving.
And they drive off. And then it cuts to Marlowe standing there and, like, staring as they drive off, giving the most menacing, creepy fucking look of just, like, you know that the only thought in this guy's head is, I'm gonna fucking get that guy.
Oh, it's like, I remember him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna get him.
Yeah, I got your face now, buddy. It's just a matter of time. He
does not say a lot of words.
He doesn't, but, like, he's so expressive.
Yeah, the way he just holds himself and, like, the body language too, because he's a taller guy, but he, like, hunches just enough, and then the head tilts.
Yeah,
just,
the
like,
way he looks at stuff to signal other vampires, he'll just, vampires, he'll just, like, open his mouth or, like, hiss or, like, click a little bit, and they'll fucking get the picture. So, again, like, he doesn't say much, and when he does speak, I think he says 2 words in English the whole movie. The rest are in this, like, foreign...
vampire language.
Yeah. I think it's when... Oh, no, it's later. It's later.
English?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little later. But I did like the duality of having Eben being such a strong leader, and then the vampires also having a very strong, trusted leader where they also do what he says.
Yeah.
To a point.
It felt like... It feels like 2 very strong sides clashing at each other versus, like, this big overpowering entity or, like, presence versus these cowering people who are just running for their lives. It's not like that. It's a bit more like, I'd say, like, 60-40. 60 towards the vampires, 40 to the humans, but, like, it's not 99% the monster, 1% them. Like, there's a bit of pushback and, like, fighting back, which again, like, adds to the whole, like, it's more like a fucking war.
Yeah.
When you see the chaos of the town initially ensue, like, at the full scale.
Yeah, these people are not going down easy, but like we just said, they are strong as hell. They lengthwise flipped an SUV.
Like 4 of them, I think. 4 or 5 of them just fucking... Whoop. Yeah, holy shit.
They convince Bo to go to the Kelso residence, so they all sneak inside, prying up a board, getting up, and they look at the ceiling, and it does, like, you have to scan the ceiling for a little bit. If you're just, like, glancing up, you're not really going to notice it.
It's just the tiniest bit of seam between some wood, and then there's, like, a little tiny, like, knob
that you pull out for the string.
Yeah, but the string isn't even visible. Like, it's
in the ceiling. Like, you have to pull the knob down.
Again, if you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't know that this man had an attic.
Yeah.
So yeah, they go in. Holy shit! They got in. They drop the ladder and they hear some noise, and so they, like, pause for a second, and then what's his name? Carter peeks out from the top and gives a big smile, like, "Oh, thank fuck, you guys are all here," which is very cute. I don't know. He's oh god, I feel really bad if I got his ethnicity wrong. I want to say, like, Alaskan indigenous almost, or, like,
Samoan descendant.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know, something about his smile was just so warm to me. I was just like, I'm so glad that this man is not miserable right now.
He's in Matrix Reloaded.
Is he?
Yeah. He's also in 2 Towers.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
As who?
Ugluk.
Oh, he's in Uruk. Urukai?
Yeah.
Sick.
He's in the Matrix Reloaded as Mifune. Mifune.
Mifune?
So many of these actors have been in, like, random Power Rangers TV shows. He's in Power Rangers Jungle Fury.
Love that for him.
Wild. Anyways, it was just, I love Power Rangers. So seeing Power Rangers stuff appear in the wild, I'm just like, oh, look at that.
Are you bummed to know that the movie that came out, like, 6 years ago was supposed to be a trilogy?
Yes. Because they introduced Tommy they are about to introduce Tommy in the after credit scene where you're about to get the fucking Green Ranger, and she was supposed to be a woman. Green Ranger was gonna be a woman, man. No, there are more screams and gunshots and stuff happening outside. Everyone from the diner made it, by the way. Everyone's up there. Everyone's good.
Yeah.
Jake ends up comparing them to vampires, and Stella's like, they don't exist. And everyone kind of just, like, looks at her, and they're like, oh.
Yeah, that's my only real gripe, I think, is in any scenario where you are clearly proven that something that you in your mindset had previously not existed now does, why are you questioning it? Like, if you see people moving supernaturally fast, supernaturally strong, able to flip a fucking car, and they're tearing through people's throats, you're not going to be like, vampires don't exist.
Well, because even...
Wouldn't you just be like, I don't know if it's vampires. All I know is that it's fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, because even Bo says something about, like, you shoot them in the head and they don't stay down, or you shoot them and they stay up. Like,
yeah. Like, it's not like zombies where, like, you do enough damage and they'll just go down. Like,
these fuckers are resilient.
These guys don't just die.
This is where my gripes start piling up about them not explaining things and just assuming you're gonna ride through, because this is the first mention we actually get of vampires. Really. Okay. And then from here, later on, it's in the attic. A lot of the attic scenes kind of blur together for me. They bring up Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, I don't remember what specifically the conversation was.
Because they're talking about sunlight.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're like, oh, just because that worked on Bela Lugosi doesn't mean it's going to work here. And so they go from 0 to 100% believing in vampires very quickly.
That's fair. There was no, like, deliberation or, like, do you think it is? Like, we have to be sure, because there is a plan that happens later that I feel like you'd want to be pretty positive.
It's going to work, yeah.
But I guess he's not positive at first, and so, like...
He doesn't think it's going to work, but he trusts Stella.
So that's the thing, right? Yeah. Is so maybe it wasn't just 0 to 100. I think there was some suspension of belief until, like, at least for Eben.
I want to know...
but also,
so
like,
they're in the attic. I was trying to figure out how long they were in the attic for. They're at least in there for 18 days.
Yeah.
And we don't get to see those 18 days, so maybe there was some continuation of those kinds of conversations.
I'm sure they definitely talked about it more.
I think what I would have liked to see, because of all of the time skips, you'll see this in Cube when we cover Cube, they overlay a lot of the stuff happening on top of each other, so you see time pass. It's good. I promise. It's weird, but it's good. You see time pass because it's just the same environment continuously. You see time pass as like, oh, they're doing this, and then something gets layered on top, and you kind of get like almost overstimulation of dialogue of them having multiple conversations at once. And I would have liked to see something like that for them kind of talking about what they think is happening, what they think they should do, to show that they've been deliberating and talking, like, and making plans.
Even just a little montage of, like, some really dreary music and then some, like, panning shots of them just, like, sitting up in the attic, like, talking as others are sleeping. And then, like, it'll fade to where, like, the other night shift will wake up and, like, they'll be the ones talking. You know, yeah, that makes total sense, because then they're sitting there, they're kind of like, it's kind of building, you know, the ideas are growing. That definitely makes sense to me. Because, yeah, like you said, it goes from, like, questioning vampires to 18 days later to, yeah, it's vampires.
Pretty much, because I think we'll get to it here in a second. There are a few paragraphs before we get to 18 days, but
I wonder if there's, like, a deleted scene maybe that they might have,
That's what I was thinking is,
you know,
because when we did My Soul to Take, almost all of the deleted scenes helped add to it.
Yeah.
I was curious if there was, or maybe in the comics, if those were stuff that kind of just got cut, believing that you would read the source material almost.
Yeah,
you know?
or, you know, because I wouldn't be surprised if they got together and made this project thinking like, oh yeah, the people who read the comics are going to be the ones who, you know, really go out and see this movie. And then, like,
especially in 2007. Yeah. Because when did the first Twilight come out? Was the Twilight surge of vampires
that was like
yet?
2000. I think it was like the same time.
I don't know about the first film, because I remember in middle school it was the like books being big.
2008 or 9, I think.
Ooh, you are right. 2008.
Yeah.
So yeah, you didn't. what I don't think vampires hit another big surge until
No.
after Twilight, and then everyone got sick of the Mormon vampires, and then we went back to like savage vampires.
Yeah.
But
I think it would be like they made that movie for a demographic, and then, you know, any extra watches were just, you know, good shit. But then like it kind of just like, obviously when you make that movie, it's not just going to be for the people who read the comics or whatever. Like, you're going to have horror enthusiasts who just want to go see the new horror movie. But like, yeah, I could definitely see where, you know, they're looking through trying to figure out what to cut, and then they say, okay, well, why don't we cut them talking, because it's just them talking about, okay, it is vampires, like we can just
fuck that.
Like, they'll skip ahead 18 days. Obviously someone's going to talk in between that time, and
yeah.
But again, that's also with the director giving trust to the viewer and just making those assumptions yourselves, because otherwise, like, I think if this movie came out nowadays, a lot of people wouldn't like it, because they'd be like, I don't know, I didn't know what the fuck was going on half the time. But it's like, dude, your media literacy is just shit. You have to, like, you kind of have to put some of this stuff together yourself in order for it to even...
No, I agree. I just think a little bit more, I would have liked to see the characters kind of debate about it a little bit more, especially if you're going to go supernatural. Like, I feel like someone might bring up zombies because they're turning people. Like, I feel like there would be a debate about what's actually they are if you're going to go supernatural, especially you're going to get stir crazy being up in that attic. People are going to throw wild things out.
Yeah.
But Isaac ends up waking up and is super confused. He actually has dementia, I believe, or Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And so a lot of he has episodes of not knowing what's happening, and here Lucy has to help calm him down. And Doug, this is where Doug tries to fight Jake. So Doug is getting on Eben's case about they need to leave. They can't live here forever. Like, they should just book it now while everyone's distracted. It's okay if some of them die as long as some of them survive. They're just sitting ducks here. And Jake,
Eben's like, what the fuck?
No, it's Jake who does.
Or, well, Jake
Eben's
says
trying
that.
to calm him down because Eben's like, shut the fuck up, you're being too loud. And Jake comes in and says, so it's okay if me, Lucy, or Denise die if you're allowed to live. And
I thought it was Jake who was the one who was like, oh, well, if they go out and they die, then maybe we can save ourselves. Like, I thought that was Jake who was saying that, because that's why Evan was like, dude, what the fuck?
No, that's what Doug says. And Jake comes back with, so it's okay if we die if you survive. And then Doug gets up in Jake's face, which pisses Eben off, and that's how Eben and Doug start fighting. And Bo has to pull Eben up, looks at Doug, and is like, stupid.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was like, Doug, you're going to get everyone killed. You're getting stir crazy. You are not trusting your leader in this situation. You're just going to get everyone killed. You're going to do something fucking crazy.
Yep.
I think Bo does also kind of say, like, he has a point, though. Like, there's a thing with that. And this is where Eben makes the plan that their next thing is that they're going to go to the general store, get supplies, and then book it to the utilidor from there because they can't stay up here. Like, they can't just stay here anymore. He says that we're going to do it over the next blizzard, and it's already started snowing. Like, it should happen soon. Kristen is making her way through town, screaming for help. And while she's walking through the middle of town, you can see vampires hop along the roofs following her. And
well, at first they're like, they up in the attic, they hear her yelling, and so they like, I think, does Eben look out first? Someone looks out and is like, oh my god, it's Kristen. And someone's like, well, we should go save her. And then he's like, no, look at the houses, but like behind her. And then it cuts back outside to her walking through the street. And then you see vampires just crawling on the roofs, like watching her. And he's like, they're using her as fucking bait. Holy shit.
These bitches are anglerfish. And they know how to work it. And it's still, again, just like, I think a lot of this plays into how big this horde of vampires is.
Yeah.
Because if you had a smaller horde, I think you could pick a few off here and there and stay in a location longer than they were. Because it seemed like they were living on that freaking shipping boat.
Yeah.
Which also makes sense because you can just like hide underneath with all of that steel and stuff. It does make sense to do it that way. We also don't get I don't want to say lifespan, but it kind of is a lifespan. Like, how long until they go stir crazy without blood? Like, what is do they just die? Are they emaciated? We don't know
the rules for these zombies. We just...
Vampires.
We don't know the rules for these vampires. All we know is that they're here to fuck shit up, apparently.
Yeah, as someone who just thinks of longevity, this is not a good way to live for a while.
To me, it's almost like they built the vampires. The vampires in this movie are almost portrayed like that's not even a worry to them. They're almost like so powerful and like so menacing, like these specific types of vampires that they'll get their food. They're not worried about that.
That's what it seems like.
And so like I think the thinking about that just doesn't come into play because they just don't worry about it. I mean, with how fast they move, they could be in fucking Wainwright in under an hour, you know?
Yeah.
The cold doesn't bother them, so
let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah, the cold doesn't bother them anyway.
Yeah, to be fair, that's fair. I think I'm just so used to vampire movies being worried about scarcity or like that kind of thing. And
that's fair. See, I think for this, they just wanted the vampires to be as menacing and terrifying as possible without, I don't know. A part of me likes the mystery because then like, that's also what makes it scarier is there's just these super strong quote unquote vampires that show up. And the only reason we can even call them vampires is because of their sharp teeth, the fact that they can turn you into one of themselves, and that the sun hurts them, you know?
And they drink blood.
Yes. But like, other than that, you know, we don't know the extent of anything and how fucking truly malevolent or evil these things really are. You know, that unknown factor to me always adds to it, but...
No, I agree. I like that we don't have a lot of lore because it also helps with the not knowing the rules, and then I don't have to be like they broke the rules of their own system.
I think that's another reason why they maybe didn't do it is because like coming up with those rules, then having to follow them and having to like make sure that there's no continuity errors or any clashes between those rules, you know, especially when you have something established like that. Like, I don't know how set of a rule set like
the comics have.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It was like, I wonder how much of the rules were set in the comic or not.
And, you know, maybe that was part of their vision, is being like, anyone who hasn't read the comics is hopefully going to watch this movie and be like, holy fuck, I want to go read the comic now because that was so badass, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it worked. I want to read the comic.
Yeah, I do too. So, you know, because maybe we will get some of these answers. Maybe we'll have those conversations in the attic where they're actually like deliberating of whether they are vampires or not. I mean, and then that could fill in the gaps.
There are 3 issues. I don't know if they're like graphic novel issues or if they're like comic book volumes though. So I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Kristen turns the corner and runs face to face with Marlowe, and who tilts his head at her, and she's like, I tried, like no one's here. Everyone's gone. There's no one left. And he gets closer, and does she fall to her knees because she's like, oh God. And he looks at her and just like neutral expression with his mouth kind of open, shakes his head, and he's like, no. And then he like looks at the sky and looks around and says, no God.
Yeah.
And then just starts letting the Horde do whatever the fuck they want with her. And a lot of it is them scratching her and her flinging around, and then another person scratching her and doing that kind of stuff.
Just bullying her, playing with their food.
Yeah, pretty much. Eben ends up outside and I guess is trying to save her because that's the kind of guy he is. But all of that happens and he gets sidetracked because he hears John call his name from under one of the houses. Tells him to be quiet and goes over there, and
this is one of those points where I think like Evan definitely kind of looks like Leon a little bit with his back up against the wall, like on the side of the house. Oh man, it's so fucking creepy too. I remember as a kid watching this scene and being like, outside unprotected in the open, just get inside.
Which I have questions about that later.
Yeah.
As we come up on some stuff. So Doug up in the attic is pushing that they run now while they're distracted with Kristen being eaten. Bo is kind of getting antsy as well and is like, I've never met anything I can't kill. I can do this. And Stella ends up having to calm him down, being like, Bo, we need you here. You cannot leave. Which kind of centers him a little bit as he looks over at all of the faces of everyone staring back at him, and he kind of
realizes
like, oh shit, like I need to be here, and he stops. Doug, again, he's gonna get them killed at this rate. Fuck him. John, back downstairs, is speaking in like very short snippet of sentences, like hungry, leg hurt, this stuff, blah blah blah, like very not full ass sentences.
Yeah, took her away.
And as you pull him up, you're like, oh fuck, homie's been turned. He tries to eat Eben, and they're like fighting, and the gun gets knocked out of his hand, and
he falls back into a swing because they like Eben gets backed into like somebody's backyard almost with like a little swing set.
Yeah, so Eben hits the ground, and John gets tangled in the swing. And as he's all tangled, Eben grabs a freaking wood-cutting axe and takes it to John's head. And I mean, it fucking works.
Yep, and he takes the head right off. And you don't see this, right? Like, you see Eben swing the axe and you hear it hit. And he swings it a couple of times.
It's not an easy endeavor.
No. But yeah, I mean, it does work.
Yeah, he makes it back inside the Kelso residence, where he falls to the floor and is having an asthma attack, and he lost his inhaler along the way. He's explaining what happened to John and Bo, while Iris and Marlo, so Iris is Marlo's girl, come up on John, which isn't good, because now they know more people are alive, and they look in John's mouth, and this is wild to me, this is wild vampire lore, that their teeth change once they turn, because you can see that John's teeth are all starting to go pointed, and yeah. I've never seen that before. That's random new lore for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, people's teeth not changing after becoming...
The entire maw of it?
Well, no, I mean, we've never had vampires have their whole, like, all their teeth sharp, but... Yeah, we mentioned that earlier, like, it's usually just the canines.
I feel like people have, like, retractable teeth. It's not like...
Oh, that's fair. Like, not just always like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like it's just...
Because, like, you have to hide it or whatever.
Yeah, because I feel like they get retractable and they kind of... It's weird.
But again, with the way that they've established these vampires, they do just want to hide. Because, like, they can't go out into, you know, human society
Their evolution...
and, like, exist. It's like, so, yeah, the evolution path of these zombies...
Vampires.
Holy fuck, dude. Oh my god. The evolutionary. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
It's very different than any other vampire that we've encountered before.
Which
they're more animalistic, but not without humanity, if that makes sense. Like there is the humanity there. They're just also very... Like, if a kid was raised by wolves, feral, like that kind of... They're just very
selfish, I think is the thing. Like, they only care about their own thirst and wants.
They also, I mean, they think regular humans, which this is not new. Like, vampires or, you know, any form of changed human thinking that, like, they're superior and that, like, human beings are like ants or whatever, and that they can crush them like
ants.
Like ants.
Whatever they want.
Yeah. But
Isaac wakes up again and sneaks his way down the ladder. Stella tries to follow him, and he starts being real loud, like, Wilson, come down here. We're leaving. We're going to Wainwright, thank you. And grab your mom. And Wilson has to come down, and they kind of have to, like, both bear hug tackle him, trying to get him to calm down. Eventually, they get him to, like, relax a little, and he's like, can I use the bathroom? And Stella says, yeah, just remember you can't flush, just lift up the plug when you're done. They sit down, and they're talking a little bit, and then they hear some noises, and Wilson cannot keep his voice under control either as he's trying to break down the freaking bathroom door to get to his dad. Where
Stella stops him from breaking it down because that would make too much noise, so they, like, somehow pick the lock. Or just, I think
they just have the key, and they're just able to unlock it.
They open the door, and...
Isaac's gone. He went out the window.
The window's open. And so, God, what is his name? Wilson decides, that's my dad, I gotta go after him.
Stella tries to stop him. He ends up knocking her away, and she falls and hits her head.
Yeah, and gets knocked out.
He slams the door on his way out, and is just making a fucking ruckus.
Yeah.
Eben wakes up to this, sneaks his way downstairs, asks Stella how long she's been down there, like what's going on. And I think this is the name I'm guessing on. I think this vampire is Zuriel. The bald one.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's Zuriel. That's what I call him for the rest of my notes.
This one's fucking creepy.
We see him a few times. The way, again, his body movements and the way he like flicks his head and
You know, another thing I don't think I've seen when it comes to change in vampires, like humans to vampires. These vampires, except for Marlowe, all the other vampires, their eyes have kind of like shifted to where they're like...
They have a bigger brow.
They're more like slanted too. Like, imagine if you were able to rotate your eyes clockwise like 30 degrees and just kind of like angle them to where they're not like bug-eyed aliens, but they're kind of getting a little close to it with their eyes like they're just fucking weird.
Yeah, I don't know what's going... Again, their evolutionary path is super interesting on what happens with what.
It's almost like they kept them more like bats, like more like vampire, like, you know, They wanted to keep the more animal part of that into the lore, which I really appreciate.
No, I agree with.
But
Stella and Eben are hiding in the bathroom, and Zuriel is about to go in there when Wilson starts screaming "Dad" outside, so he gets dragged away, and he's like, "Ooh, fresh meat." They are able to make their way back up into the attic as Zuriel kind of stalks Eben, and I don't remember if it's Zuriel or if it's another vampire that just fucking grabs Wilson and drags him away. We don't even get to see his death, he's just fucking gone.
Yeah.
Stella blames herself for Wilson's death, saying she wish she could have done more, but Eben's like, there's nothing you can do when someone's trying to protect their family or be with their family. Nothing will stop them. And they look at each other and they're like, we used to be like that, right? And
she says that, and he doesn't even reply, but yeah, it's like this moment of her almost realizing like, oh yeah, I kind of fucked up, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because we also, the way that he handled the stranger in the police station, that she kind of like smiles and like looks at him like, damn, that was hot. Like, I don't remember exactly.
There are moments where she does that, yes.
But like, that literally happened, and I just remember being like, that was not subtle at all, girl. Like,
she
if
married
anyone
him for
else,
a reason, man.
Yeah, but damn, like, you could. She gave him horny eyes at one point when he was just doing his duty as sheriff. But like, some ladies get turned on by men at their jobs, or I should say, some people get turned on by their partners. You know, being in their workplace, especially like blue collar. You know, where like strong individuals will, you know, come home dirty, and they just look like they've lifted a lot of heavy things and done a lot of very masculine things, and for some reason that turns people on.
Something starts stomping around up on the roof, and they like have to they close their little peek hole, they're chilling for a second, and they don't turn off the lights ever, which really bugs me, because this is what I was saying when I was talking about they don't ration anything. They always have a light on up there. I'm like, you don't know how long you're going to be up there, and they always have the fucking light on. It starts snowing, so it's go time. They're going to the general store. What makes them think that the vampires can't just traverse through the blizzard? I don't know. They're just using it as cover. Eben leads them like little duckling style through the blizzard of them just like one after another in a row, and they get into the general store. He gives orders of like, you four are going to grab food, you're going to grab medical supplies, we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. We'll meet back here in 2 minutes. Everyone branches off, and there's some chittering and guttural noises and not so good sounds, and Carter and is it Denise make their way over, and there's a fucking child in a dress eating someone, and she's like, I'm done playing with you, and turns around, and when I say child, I mean she's like under 7 or something.
This is like a 6-year-old girl. Demonic, fucking sharp teeth, And the eyes, again, it's like, I don't know what happens with the eyes, but they like get like pulled back almost a little bit. Because I looked at a picture again, and it's not that they necessarily slant, but they like get like thinner almost. It's fucking weird. And yeah, it's
And then I made a note on this because Marlo is literally like, don't turn anyone. And I'm like, is she part of the original crew? Do they just have a vampire child running around? Or did they accidentally turn a child and not kill her? Who knows? They run into Eben. They like look backwards, run into Eben. They point that way. He takes the axe. He isn't prepared for it to be a child. And when she runs at him, he swings way too high.
Yeah, he swings at adult height. And she just runs under it.
She rushes at Carter. Bo, Doug, and Stella all have to restrain her so, like, they can... What happens with the axe? He, like, drops the axe. Something weird happens.
Yeah, it gets, like, knocked out of his hands. And I'm sorry, I just have to say this. As a 6'6" man, and not that Eben's height even matters for this, but anything that's, like, a foot or more shorter than me, my first instinct is to just kick it away. Or like kick it, you know? So I get that the axe, like, you got to take the head off, but if it's sprinting at you, you have to then use a maneuver that will allow you space between you and the enemy before you then do the killing blow, right?
Yeah.
Why would you swing head height? Why not just fucking kick the little girl back first before you go at her with the axe? He just fucking swings like he's swinging it at another dude.
I think he was expecting it to be another dude, but...
You know, and that's fair. Maybe, I guess that's why, is because, like, he
was expecting,
like, he hears the noises and then assumes that it's gonna be a...
Not
but, like, still, my leg would come out at the fucking first sight of something 4 foot or under running at me.
So, poor Jake ends up having to pick up the axe, and he has to kill the child as his very first kill, and he gets, like, PTSD immediately. Homie is, like, shaking.
This is a 15-year-old kid.
Who has, like, no mean bone in his fucking body. He plays Risk with his grandma.
Yeah. So... Yeah.
This poor kid. We get day 18, which is them now in the general store. Eben wants to move now, and Doug is the sensible one, saying, like, I don't really think we should. But Carter's like, oh, we'll just do a diversion, and we'll be fine. And it turns out Carter is gonna... Oh, I'm sorry, they're not in the general store. They make it to the station. They're at the... They're back at the police station.
Mm-hmm.
And... Carter talks about a diversion, and...
I think we missed the part where Marlo goes in and kills the stranger. Did we talk about that?
No, we didn't, and I definitely have notes for that, and I don't know...
Because I think that had to have been before they go back to the station again, right?
Yeah, he definitely does.
And it's not a big deal. Like, Marlo goes into the station, and the stranger's like, oh, you're here, and then Marlo's like... You did what we asked. You can join us or whatever. And then...
Or, no, he says, like, rest easy or something along those lines.
Rest easy, you're with us, or something like that. And that, like, gives the inkling that the stranger's, like, joining him. And so he, like, smiles and, like, it's weird.
He looks over at Iris, though, and says they'll believe anything, and then snaps his neck.
Yep. Again, just, like... and it's not a big deal that we glossed over it, because it just, you know... The only reason that I wanted to mention is because when they're in the police station, we don't want you asking, oh, but the stranger's still there, right? Yeah, but he's dead.
He's dead. I don't know where that went in my notes.
His neck is snap.
Yeah.
Papud.
This is where Stella brings up they can't survive in sunlight. And this is like where my gripe came in of, no one has talked about this. And she's like, oh, well, they can't survive in sunlight, so we should just bring the sunlight to them. And they talk about Helen growing weed, and the only reason that was even a thing is because UV lights to grow weed. So...
Ultraviolet rays.
This is where Bo's like, yeah, that worked on Bela Lugosi doesn't mean it's going to work on all vampires. And this is where just, like, you kind of get, like, I feel like this should have been a conversation earlier, but it, like, does make sense.
It's essentially like they've already talked about all this, and now you're just having to go along with, like, the conclusions that they're coming up with now. which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But again, like,
it just feels like you're missing something.
For me, my brain didn't think about it because it was just like, oh yeah, like they're not going into it too much. They're just basically, you know, they're not trying to fuck. They're focusing on the other shit, you know.
Which is also fair. I don't know. My brain always just clicks on
no,
weird
it's
things.
fine. I understand it. Like, I totally, I say that the movie could even use that. Honestly, like it would just add like a little bit of extra MSG into the movie to make it just a little bit more flavorful.
I do agree.
But it's not a problem that it's missing necessarily.
No, like
you're along for the ride, so when the ride is smooth sailing, you don't really like. That's why I don't question it, you know.
Which is fair.
But
Jake asks if it doesn't work. Stella says it has to. Evan says he'll do it. Jake says it should be him. They have this whole argument about who it should actually be. It does end up being Evan. Stella reminds him he needs to turn on the Jenny before he tries to use it, which is fair.
Totally fair.
He screams through the streets, causing a diversion for everyone to follow him towards Helen's house. And Bo is in charge of getting everyone... No, because this...
Bo's supposed to take them
to the station. They are in the general store.
Okay, yeah.
So this is why the man, stranger, whatever, didn't get brought up, because they haven't gotten to the station yet.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're right. This is where...
it's not super spoilery. We kind of assumed that the stranger was...
Yeah, he was going to die. So Bo is in charge of getting them to the station.
Mm-hmm.
Marlo and Iris call a swarm.
Yeah.
And they just towards the house. So it's this weird thing is my issue with this. Why didn't they just break down the doors? It's like these fuckers can't use doors. They were in the general store. Like, I feel like, because fucking Zerial goes into the house through the door and is, like, searching shit.
Yeah.
I feel like they are way safer than they should have been being inside. These aren't zombies who are mindless and don't understand how to fucking use a door.
Yeah. No, I get that.
That was my biggest gripe with these, is that they seem more, like, because the whole point of this horde is they want to destroy everybody. They want to eat everyone and then burn it to the ground, pretty much, right? Like, they just want to raise this town.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, maybe they're having fun with it. I don't know. It was just weird that they didn't start opening doors and going in places. They didn't, the Kelso house makes sense. It's all boarded up, but the general store isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Iris waits for Marlo to give her the go-ahead before she goes inside first. And what Evan did was turn on the generator and then break down one of the UV lights, and then he has it turned on, pointed to the ground, so as soon as that door opens, he flings it up, and, like, when I say she burns instantly, she burns, like, turns black, her flesh is sloughing off. Like, it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
While the diversion and stuff is happening, they all start booking it to the station, and Doug gets picked off first, getting insta-killed, which is karma, motherfucker. Not being an asshole about shit. They all end up getting inside, and while they all get inside okay, and Stella calls Eben, who lets her, he's like, hey, it worked, but I think they're about to cut the power. Power gets cut, and Marlo makes his way inside after, like, pulling Iris out and kind of staring at her, and Eben bolts out the back door. Bo takes the walkie and tells him to run to the trencher, and that it's his turn to cause a ruckus. Iris is burned really bad, and Marlo comes up over to her, kind of, like, looks at her and, like, shuts her eyes and then fucking kills her. He bites into her neck, murdering her.
He says, like, you know...
He pretty much says this for the greater good or something, like, you know this has to happen.
He says something weird, like, and something that is broken must then be... Rebroken? I don't...
It's something weird like that, yeah.
And then he kills her.
He kills her. And this is how this is kind of how this is where we see how big the horde actually is. It's a lot of fucking people to feed. Like, again, we already hashed this out, but, like, I don't know, as a leader of blood-sucking things that likes to cause murder, I wouldn't have this many people. I wouldn't have allowed this many people to be turned.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to why he did.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bo gets in the trencher, starts cutting down the horde. If y'all don't know what a trencher is, it's like if a bulldozer, instead of having the bulldozer part in front, has a giant chainsaw.
Yeah.
And he starts just mowing down
Dude,
fuckers and then using a shotgun.
at one point, a vampire jumps on the front window. He shoots at it with the shotgun, and it flies back onto the blade of the trencher and gets sawed in half.
It's
and
so cool.
It's at that point where I was like, fuck yeah, that was fucking sick.
That was so good. Sweet.
Okay.
Okay.
So, obviously, I guess, we're in the middle of talking about something, and then we had to cut short. So that's why it may sound a little different or a little broken up. We have to record the last little bit the following day. So, sorry if that's confusing.
Yeah, bear with us. I had a prior engagement, and we don't time management well when we're having a good time. So,
Yes, so the energy levels have obviously shifted. It's in the morning.
Yes, and I did make a mock caramel macchiato from Starbucks though. Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Oh
So
my god.
we're gonna catch back up to where we were. Oh crap. So we were talking about Bo and how it was his turn to be a distraction or whatever. He said it was his turn. So he sneaks out of the station, gets into the trencher, and starts mowing down the horde of these fucking vampires. And they're attacking the trencher. They're just going wild. He's shooting at them like through the door with a shotgun too. One like tries to get inside the trencher and he like kicks the door open and like shoots it in the face.
I mentioned that one jumps up onto the front of the cab and he blasts it with a shotgun and it flies backwards onto the trencher blade and gets sawed in half.
Oh,
very
yeah, dude,
very badass.
This movie has some like pretty like great kills.
Yeah, you mentioned it last night, but like it's more action horror. Like it's cool, good action. It's not just like some horror movies where the action is purely just watching bad shit happen. I mean, yeah, this is bad shit happening, but it's like there's moments of like when the townspeople are fighting back that you're like, oh fuck yeah,
Yeah, and you mentioned it too. It felt more like a war than like just a town getting overrun, which I think is like way more accurate. It also makes it nicer because I feel like a lot of vampire movies are like, oh, there's not even a point to fighting back. We're so outnumbered. We're so fucked. But that also leads into my point that I think I made yesterday. I can't remember if we talked about it on air or off, where I don't understand how they were safe for so long. No, we did talk about this. I don't understand, like, these guys can pick up trucks and they're not just breaking down doors.
Yeah, I think part of it all plays back into the whole like them kind of playing with their food a little bit, because we see them do that throughout this whole thing. Like it's not like they just grab someone and then kill. They're like using people as bait, and well, I guess, yeah, why would you use people as bait if you could just bust doors down?
Yeah, I don't know. Especially like because I could see using people as bait, because Marlowe talks about how they spent centuries making, we'll get to it in a second, but we can talk about it now. Like they spent centuries making humanity believe that they were just a bad dream. So they're like, we're not leaving any survivors, right?
Yeah.
Which would make sense to use bait if they're like in a big city or, need to lure someone out. I feel like they're anglerfish, right? They're using this bait, this thing to then lure people to them. Would make sense in a town that they weren't like ready to destroy.
It also just hit me that like, it makes sense in my mind that if you arrive at this town and start terrorizing it, and then you lose a bunch of your pack because you realize they're fighting back, you may not just want to push into houses and tight corners and, like, because at that point, the people that are hiding have the upper hand, right? Like, they're just going to sit and wait and point a shotgun at the corner and wait for you to turn it. So, maybe it was more of a survival thing where they were like, okay, we can't just, like, go in and fuck these people up. We have to bring them out into the open so that we can kind of, like, dodge around their bullets or kind of, like, move more freely through the environment without, getting caught up in shit. Which makes sense to me, but, like, it's not something that's explained, so it's just something that...
Yeah, and I mean, well, you talked about the need to have media literacy in this movie and just kind of roll with the punches and infer a lot because the characters talk about it at some point and there are big time skips. So maybe that's just one of the things of inferring here.
That's a deeper one, though, that you kind of really have to think about, because otherwise, I mean, granted, I didn't even think about it initially, right? I was just like, yeah, they're just, like, the people are hiding and the vampires are trying to get them out to the open. But then when, you know, like, we do a podcast, so I have to critically think about all this shit. So that's when it strikes me, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know, here's that layer. But
that's fair. There's also, so Bo is he's a pretty kick-ass character, right? We just talked about him just being a freaking badass in this trencher. Well, to cause the biggest distraction he can, he crashes the trencher into a building, and he jumps out with a crate of dynamite and a flare.
Yeah.
And I don't know how this happens, all right? So he's like, you're not gonna eat me. And he lights that flare and he drops it into the box and blows up the damn building, but survives?
Yeah, it's pretty great, not gonna lie, because you see, like, the explosion a bunch of vampires start pouring in through the windows and stuff and start surrounding him, and he's got no more shotgun rounds left. So he lights the flare and drops it into the box of dynamite. And it explodes, and then it cuts to, like, behind him as he's flying backwards. It's like, oh my God. So yeah, to be fair, you know, the explosion happens, the rest of the vampires outside are standing there watching the flames go up, and then, like, he's, like, crawling and burnt to fuck. So it's not like he's alive and well, he's maimed. But I do understand, like, you shouldn't be alive, because that was a lot of dynamite. It wasn't
and he was
one or two sticks.
Ground zero.
It was a box with, like, 12 sticks. So, yeah, yeah, it's fine, whatever. Bo's a badass.
Yeah, this was the only one where I was really like, what the hell? This is a little beyond we're talking about a vampire movie, and this is where my suspension of disbelief stops. Where I'm just like, homie shouldn't be worse off.
Yeah.
But it does lead to him, like, flying through the air, crashing into the ground, and Marlowe coming up and just crushing his head with his foot.
Yeah, he just puts his foot on his head and kind of crunches it in a bit. It's not even like he doesn't even, like, pick his foot up and, like, stamps down really hard. He just, like, puts his foot on his head and then just applies more pressure until his foot sinks into his head a bit. And you're like, oh, God.
Yeah. It's not like Smashing Pumpkins, where it's just like you see the blood guts and everything. It's just like you see the indent of the pressure.
And you hear the crunch.
Just crush.
Yeah, and that's about it. But it's brutal.
Oh, God, yeah, that one was rough, because at this point I do like Bo as a character at this point. He's a little bit of an asshole at the start, but it's just because he's, like, the old crotchety man out in the middle of nowhere who doesn't want to be bugged. It's not that he's, like, an actual asshole.
That's just me. Like, I relate to that wholeheartedly, so.
Well, Eben makes his way inside to the station after, because he was dealing with... Why was he outside the station? Fuck. Oh, because he did the UV stuff. He was doing the UV light and then had to bolt. So he gets back to the station, and he is unwell. Stella greets him, and they just, like, have a nice hug about everything that happened. He's just not great at all.
Yeah, those Vietnam flashbacks are hitting through his eyes. He's got that 1,000-yard stare. Might as well put a cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah,
To be fair, I mean, that was a lot. Fair. It's been a couple weeks of just shit. So, like, I'd be in the same position.
Well, and he's been the one, like, kind of with the world on his shoulders with all of this. He's one who feels like he has to protect everyone. He's the plan maker. He's the fucking sheriff. He is the authoritative figure here. Yeah. And he needs the breakdown. And it's not like a full breakdown. They just have, like, a really nice hug. And then they go back into that was at the entryway of the station, and they go back to where everyone else is. And they're kind of just talking about how many of them are left. And then Carter's like, well, it's about to be less. And he, like, takes his hood off and is like, the little girl changed me. I'm so thirsty. It's just, his teeth are already changing too. Because the store was...
Sorry, it's hard because we're on Discord. So, like, there's a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, no, you're good. The store was a few days ago, right? At this point?
I think so.
1 or 2 days. I can't remember exactly the timeline here, but, like, his teeth are changing. And we saw it with John too, where you get to see the teeth start pointing and stuff. And this is like watching it happen. I know we talked about this already, but like it's so wild that you're just watching someone evolve like that.
Yeah, it's also pretty depressing because he gives a little anecdote about the picture of him and his family and being like, yeah, my wife and daughter got into a car crash because of a drunk driver, and I've wanted to join them ever since, but I couldn't, end it myself. And so he's like, that's fucking time. And this is maybe it's just because I've been through, like, I've dealt with a lot of death recently, but like this kind of fucking hurt. It's not easy to watch because Stella's like, oh God, no. And everyone else is just kind of in quiet acceptance as him and Eben walk into the back room.
Oh.
And then you just hear a couple thuds. And of course, like, each thud gives a visceral reaction to like Stella, who's on the ground with her back against the wall with her hands over her ears and her eyes closed, like that, like tight, like, I just want to be over with it, like kind of thing. But like she winces whenever she hears and obviously probably feels the thud because her fucking back is against the wall.
Yeah, this one has to be so rough because, again, we talked about the small town vibes. Like, they've known this man probably. He's an older guy. He's not like super old, but he's older than them. They've probably known him.
They've known him their whole lives.
Exactly. And then just having to realize like what you thought about his life was entirely wrong. That his, like, because he always talked about his wife and daughter will come join him when they're ready. They just don't want to be up here yet. And so it was always just assumed they didn't want to live in this tiny town, which makes sense. And, if you've got a strong relationship, you do you, boo. Then understanding he's been living with this pain for fuck knows how long. And then
it fucking hurt.
Oh, yeah. This one was a rough one. And then just, to hear the thuds of him getting his head decapitated.
And poor Evan. Because, like, he comes out of the room even more a mess than he was previously. I mean, he had to fucking do it. Like, he had to carry the deed out. So, like, I mean, at this point, like, I feel so bad for our boy.
He goes through the ringer, that's for sure. We get text on screen that says day 27, and they're all looking outside the open blinds of the fucking police station. Close your damn blinds, my guy. What the fuck? Their survival instincts are weird because they're like, we're gonna survive this mess, and then like don't do things I feel like you would do to survive the mess, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Eben and Stella book it to Eben's place. Not Eben's, I'm so sorry. They were looking out the window and they see flashes through one of the windows, and it's Billy's house, and Billy's flashing a light at them, and they're able to like, oh my God, Billy's alive. I wonder if like the whole fam's alive. And so they book it to Billy's house. And he's also shell-shocked on the ground. Stella runs to him while Eben goes to the bed where you just see the outline of 3 bodies that are covered. And you knew that he has a wife and 2 daughters. And you're like, oh, fuck.
It's not a messy scene. These bodies are laid with a blanket over them as they're like neatly laid in bed with a specific roundish blood stain, maybe dripping off a little bit, around the head area. So make some more inferences, why don't you? And we'll just keep talking.
Billy's talking to Stella about this, and this is where all respect leaves my body for Billy, and same with Eben, because he's like, you had a family and you hurt them, because Billy's talking about how he killed all of them. He heard the screams outside and the gunshots, and he didn't want his family to deal with that. So he killed all 3 of his wife and his 2 daughters, and then he went to go shoot himself, and the gun jammed. And I'm like, no, bitch, you're just a fucking coward. That gun didn't jam. You just couldn't do it. Like, oh, Evan grabs him and like slams him into the ground too. And he's like, your family, you don't hurt your family.
But he doesn't even do it angrily. He does it like he's about to break down, as if it were his own wife and kids almost. Like it's like this very emotional, like Eben's not even yelling, but he's like, it's your family, you protect your family, like it's that like frog in your throat, like trying to get the words out because there's so much emotion in your chest and you're trying to keep it together kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he's not like losing his fucking mind on Billy, but like you can tell that this hits him so hard because Those were essentially his nieces, you know.
Well, and something
Because, like,
something I didn't think about till right now is he just heard the story of fucking Carter's family being murdered by a drunk driver, and then comes over to Billy's to where Billy killed his own family. That, like, whiplash, oof.
Dude, no joke. I think if I was in Eben's position, I wouldn't be able to keep my cool, especially after just putting down. Oh God, what's his name? Carter. That's just that's too much. That's too much strain on a man's mental health.
Yeah, he is. We talk about this with a bunch of movies, usually The Final Girl, right? But he needs some severe therapy, and this is even worse because, like, some situations in the horror movies they can talk about and go to therapy, right? Like, oh, you have the serial killer who's going around murdering people, or, you know, the poltergeist stuff and ghost things, I feel like is more accepted. I think your therapist will probably think, you got some schizophrenia happening or some kind of mental break happening. But being like, vampires attacked my town and I watched everyone die, who the fuck is gonna believe you?
Yeah, not a fucking soul.
And we'll talk about it at the end. I'm getting ahead of myself. But they take Billy back to the station.
We're almost there.
We're so close. They take Billy back to the station, and is he injured? Is he just, like, emaciated? I don't know what, but they have him, and Eben and Stella have to, like, carry him pretty much into the station. Each one of them has an arm around their shoulders carrying him into the station. Yeah. So I don't know what his deal is. Maybe he's just depressed and not willing to move at all, and they're trying to save him. They get back to the station, and no one's there. Everyone is gone, but there's no blood everywhere. So you're like, oh shit, okay, they probably moved. They went to the utilidor, most likely, is like where they would have gone. And it starts blizzarding. And it's like a light blizzard where it's just the snow has started coming down, but it is windy as fuck. Like the meme of windy, that is what this is.
It fucking windy.
Windy. They book it out, and then they, like, slide under one of the houses and are kind of just looking around, trying to get out of the cold, I'm assuming. And then they watch Gail, who is a child, who looks traumatized, and she's covered in blood, just wander down the middle of the street. And don't get me wrong, it's a child, but we've already seen they use people as bait, and Stella starts calling out to her. Girl.
Also, you also saw a demon child.
Yeah.
So, like, this child is covered in blood. My first thought is, like, oh, they got another one. And then I'm just like, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but maybe I wouldn't, because it's a child and you have to try. But also, like, I don't know, man.
Dude, no, my first thought with this was, oh, that's a demon baby. Like, that's a vampire child, or it's another bait situation. And honestly, I don't know if I'm strong enough to try and save that child. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. We've talked about our survival instincts, though, and mine is very low. So I don't even know if I would have gotten this far.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like, oh, I'd like to think I'd do this or I'd do this. But then I remember that I have a fucked up knee and hip, so I couldn't really run too far. And that's my first issue. But second off, I got stomach issues, man. I'm going to be, like, we're going to be on, like, the first day, 6 hours in the attic, and I'm going to be like, I have to shit so bad. I'm going to, like, my stomach hurts so bad. And I think I'm just fucked in any of these scenarios, and I'm trying to come to terms with that. Not that it's ever going to happen.
Let's see. Okay. So Stella, in all of her smart glory, runs out and grabs Gail, and you instantly hear a vampire screech signaling that either, hey, bitch, we found you, or, like, echolocation, I'm calling my horde. And she grabs Gail and then books it back onto the house where the rest of them are. Like, well, the rest of them meaning Eben and Billy. Like, you're giving away your location. You stole a child. Like, Stella, get it together.
You stole a child?
I guess saved a child is a more apt term, but still. Billy...
We're dealing with vampires out here, and now we're dealing with child kidnappers?
What's worse than a child?
There's only one thing worse than a rapist.
A child. They freaking Eben and Billy they're talking, or Eben is talking about, okay, we'll decoy you guys, make it to the utilidor, and Billy books it, and you're like, oh, he's actually like maybe gonna be good about something. No, he's running away. And this is where I was like, oh, I hate you. You're just a fucking little coward ass bitch who's just running to get away. And I don't know, like, maybe that's unfair to say because I don't know how I would react in the situation, but I feel like if I was with a group of people, I'm not going to put the group of people at risk. And he's just, I don't know, he's just being an ass. So Billy runs and then hides somewhere. And Evan's like, it's fucking cool, dude. Okay, we'll meet you at the utilidor. And so then he leaves from out, like, gets out from under the house. And does he start making what does he do here?
I don't fucking remember.
He decoys, and I don't remember if he is like screaming decoying or what he's doing here.
I genuinely don't remember. This is why I watch the movies the day that we record, because any day after that, it slowly starts to leave my mind. No. I should have done a refresher before we started.
No, you're good. Because I watch it. I usually watch it the night before. So, and my notes are so. I think I've talked about the way I write my notes before, but like this movie, depending on the movie, it's either 4 to 5 pages of notes, right? But they're shorthand for me. So this just says, Eben and Billy decoy for Stella and Gale to get to the utilidor. Billy runs and hides like a fucking coward. And this is where I say, I don't think you're gun jammed. I think you're a bitch. And then it's Eben crawling into the pipeline hatch. And so I skip over whatever he does to decoy for Stella and Gale, and he's at the utilidor pipeline hatch.
Yeah, I don't even remember him. Like, I don't think he does anything. I think he just runs and hides.
Yeah.
And I think Eben is the one who, like, takes the attention because he's the one who's eventually followed, right, Eben?
No, Billy gets followed.
Oh.
So I don't exactly know what happens. Eben gets to this. So again, all of the houses and everything are like on stilts. And so there's this kind of like utility shed that's up higher than the houses are. And so there's like a hatch with a ladder that he climbs up and like sneaks his way in. And he follows the utility pipelines into the actual utilidor, which this was a great plan. Like, honest, this, if there are like hatches like this around, I feel like he should have booked it here faster, but whatever. He crawls through that. Well, he doesn't even crawl. Like, you can full ass stand in here, and he gets to the utilidor where Denise, Jake, and Lucy are. And he tells Jake, he's like, oh, like, good job getting everyone here. But then he asks where Stella or Gale are, and neither of them have shown up to the utilidor. And he doesn't even ask about Billy.
Oh, that's right.
It cuts to Marlowe, and he's like doing a whore's bath in blood. He's like putting his hand in blood and then like rubbing his head with it. And I think that's one thing we didn't super talk about with the vampires is I guess we talked about with like how violent they are, but they are consistently like have blood all over them, a la being bathed in it for some reason.
Yeah, I don't quite get it. I wonder if it's just like maybe they don't necessarily have to consume it. They can just like absorb it through their skin. I don't fucking know.
The only thing, and it doesn't fully make sense, but we learn later that they can like smell human blood. So maybe it's one of those hunter tactics where they're like, oh yeah, we can smell human blood. Let me smell like human blood. That's the only thing I got.
Oh yeah, so that like because they're like we need to smell like them so that they don't. Because they probably smell like death, right? Or like that's because I think the stranger refers to the cold as like that's not the winter cold, that's death. But yeah, so I don't fucking know. I don't
know. He's being a weirdo, and this entire time he's monologuing. This is where we learn about how he's saying we've spent centuries trying to make people believe we don't actually exist, and he's just going off about how they have to kill everyone, and it's just a like your kind of typical villain monologue for a second. Then it cuts to Billy, who's made his way to, I don't know if it's the same hatch, utility shed thing that Eben made it to, but he makes it to one of them. And he crawls his way up there, and like, again, he's got to be hurt or something, because he like slides his way in there and is kind of like holding himself. It looks like he's in a lot of pain. And as he makes his way down that hallway, you see, oh, we also didn't mention these motherfuckers have talons for nails. Like, their nails are insane.
Yes, the very long, sharp. They're similar to their teeth. Like, honestly. It's very, like, sharp and to a point, and then, like, yeah, it's claw, like, long claws.
Did Bela Lugosi Dracula have, like, long-ass nails? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
No, I'm thinking of, what's the other one? I can picture the cover, like, perfectly. Dracula.
Bram Stoker's Dracula? No. I mean, he's got the like, the big, puffy white hair. And the long nails.
Yes.
It looks kind of like Emperor Palpatine.
Yes, this is the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Bram Stoker's Dracula.
92. I thought it was the early 2000s, but 92 also makes sense. Yeah. This one is like weird.
He's a goober. I love him. I need to watch that.
All of that to say, Billy gets followed because there's a clawed hand that catches the hatch and like lifts it up, and you're like, oh fuck, Billy got followed. He's gonna get everyone fucking killed, because of course he is.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I really start wondering why everyone's safe inside, because they're like, oh, we can wait it out in the utilidor, and I don't know, man. It just the not using doors thing is just weird to me. Mm-hmm. Or just breaking shit down because they can. At this point, they are pretty much, we just heard from Marlowe being like, we're gonna just destroy the town. So I don't know why they're still kind of being cautious about not breaking into shit. I don't, fuck no.
Well, and it's weird because usually, vampires, depending on the vampire, they'll sometimes have the rule where like they have to be invited into your house. But we've seen Marlowe like walk through a door.
We've also seen Zuriel
like a doorway.
do it.
Yeah, without being asked. So it's not like there's that restriction there, which is why we've been confused about this. I don't think we mentioned that yesterday at all, but it's because it's not a rule. We've seen them go through doorways. So
yeah, that's super. I actually kind of forgot about that vampire rule, and so it feels weird because it feels like they're playing into that rule, but then not following it, right? Being like, oh yeah, everyone's safe inside, except when they're not safe inside.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That one's just weird to me. Billy wanders into like the main.
They also didn't try garlic. I'm just going to point that out. They never tried garlic, but that's just me.
They probably don't have any fresh garlic. I don't know if canned minced garlic is going to work. But it's hard because the group of people we're following is just believing in established like media lore, right? Like they bring up Bela Lugosi. They are just assuming that vampire lore is effective across the board, right? But then we're never explained what vampire lore is correct and what isn't. Except the only one we get is the sunlight thing. And then that biting turns you or can turn you. But then you get the whole, like, you get the decapitation works, which I haven't heard that for vampire lore. But I guess it makes sense because, like, you take off the head, the thing can't live. Yeah. So I don't know. They don't try a stake to the heart either.
It's definitely, I think, from a watcher's perspective, when they're trying to put you in the perspective of the, like, Eben and Stella and all them, it's not like they get that information necessarily. So, I mean, it kind of, like, it makes sense as to why it's not, like, expressly given. But I do think some other movies would, like, shine a light on it some other way without making sure that the established heroes of the movie find out that information, but the viewers do. They could go about it that way. But it still does, at least in my head, make sense that we only know as much as the survivors. And so we kind of just have to... Part of the spooks is not knowing because, like, Eben could have tried the UV and it may not have worked and he could have just got fucked up. We would, like, that's part of the horror, is not really knowing what's going to work and what's not.
That's fair. And we've talked about this with maybe it's explained more in the comics of all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so the movies just...
I think we really got to do We got to read the comics, and then maybe for this and like one or two others, we can do like separate episodes for those comics. You know, if people are down.
Yeah, should we do another episode of just the comic books? We were talking about doing maybe some live streaming of some of this stuff, so let us know what you prefer.
Yeah, 100%.
So Billy wanders into the kind of main chunk of the utilidor. You can see the muffin monster there, and he's calling out, and our group of survivors is not in this chunk. We actually see that they have made it back to one of the offices, and Eben has been trying to get a hold of Stella on the walkie. They hear Billy calling, and they like wait for a second, and they're like, what the fuck? And then you just hear is it a screech? Billy gets jumped by Zerial, and so I can't remember if it's just like a battle ensues or if there's like one of the weird screeches that happen.
I think they hear a yell. Don't they hear Billy yell, or do they hear the screech?
It's one or the other, because the vampire that we're calling Zerial just fucking jumps him, and they start fighting. And then Eben comes in with the axe trying to get to the vampire. But this fucker is, again, we've talked so much about him. He's just a monster of a fighter and just creepy as hell. And he goes to swing the axe at Zerial, and Zerial grabs it, fucking yanks that shit out of his hand, and then swings it, getting Billy in the crossfire. And you're not exactly sure what happens with Billy. You just see him like crouch, and just there's blood. And Lucy and Denise try to grab the vampire, pulling him off of Evan, but like this vampire just kind of shrugs them away easily. And this guy headbutts Evan, and that has got to hurt so bad. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no way this fucker who can lift trucks does not destroy your head.
I'm surprised it didn't like give him a concussion. Well, I mean, it probably did give him a concussion or something. It definitely, like, fractured his skull.
Billy, tackles Zerial and gets him pushed into the muffin monster, and he just shreds.
You watch Zerial get eaten by this thing, and that was the very beginning when I was like, that's Chekhov's gun as fuck. They just hover over the big thing. This is what you've been waiting for. And of course they do it to the big bad scary boy.
Which is great. But
very fitting.
As soon as Billy turns around from tackling him, his hand is cut off and it is spewing blood.
Yeah, he's like screaming and freaking out because his hand is missing. And everyone else is freaking out too.
He like legit starts turning though. You hear him like screaming and it's starting to get more animalistic.
Oh yes, that's right.
And so you don't know when he got hurt. Like if it was in this fight or if it was previous, but Eben picks up the axe, and you watch this one happen. He takes the axe and hits him right dead center in the throat, and it takes like 3 times to get that head cut off.
And they do a great job of the puppet, because goddamn, like they show you the whole thing. Earlier when you see Eben hit what was his name? The dude in the swing set.
John.
Yeah. You don't see anything besides Eben swinging the axe, and you hear the thuds. This, you see the axe enter, and then you see it get pulled out, and then it like cuts to a down different view of like a better view of it, and then he swings again, and it goes in, and then his head like lops off more to the side as it's like hanging off. It's fucked.
It's a rough kill.
But also like Evan wanted to do this earlier, and so I think this maybe made our boy feel just a little bit better for the horrendous actions that Billy had undertaken earlier in his own home.
It does also suck, though, because Denise, Lucy, who have kind of, I don't want to say have been shielded from a lot of this, but they haven't really had to kill anybody or they've seen some horrors, but nothing quite like this, and you can just see not the realization, but the like pure, just unadulterated fear that kind of goes through them at this point of just like, oh, fuck. Mm-hmm. Marlowe is prowling the streets with the long-haired vampire who kind of reminds me of Kylo Ren. I'm not going to lie. So
he reminds me of the big head vampire from Twilight. just a little
Oh,
bit.
I could see that too. Yeah,
Like, because of the hair.
he's got the long like hair split down the middle and it's black, and him and then Zerial and then Iris have been like the three main vampires we've kind of seen around Marlowe. There's some other ones, but like these are the main ones we see. And so now that Zerial's dead and Iris is dead, we only have the right hand guy who you got me, man. There was one other name that it could have been. Let me pull it back up. I don't remember anyone named Arvin.
Arvin. I mean, he's an Arvin for sure.
We have, so the names I couldn't match to anyone are Arvin, Dawn, and Seth.
He could be Dawn or Arvin, I think.
I think Dawn is a woman.
Like DAWN?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was thinking like DON.
No.
Like Donnie.
Ugh, no. Dawn. And then, so it could be, no, Seth looks familiar.
So I think it's Arvin for sure.
I would go with Arvin. I think it's Arvin.
He's an Arvin.
And
I mean, I didn't know any of the names before, so.
yeah, so we'll say this guy is Arvin. So we've got Marlowe and Arvin prowling the streets, and they're kind of just looking around for people. We don't really see anything happen right now. Then it cuts back to Denise, who's like, hey, look what I found behind Carter's desk. And there's a box of chocolates, I think it's a bottle of vodka, and some vitamins. I don't know why she grabbed the vitamins, but those are the things she takes. And she's like, hey, we should celebrate. Like, we have one more day until the sun comes up. And then she gives Jake the bottle, and he takes a swig, and there's his face of, ugh, is so 15-year-old trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Stella finally gets back on the walkie, and her and Gale are hidden under a wrecked car in the middle of town. Mm-hmm. And I still don't trust Gale. Like, she has not said a thing. She's kind of like catatonic-y there, but I don't know. At this point, I was just like, she's gonna bite. She's gonna bite Stella. I don't trust her.
At this point, I didn't think anything of it because, like, I feel like the child. Because, like, from what we've seen in the adults that have turned, there seems to be some sort of, like, depending on your willpower, you can kind of fight it. But I don't think a child would be able to fight it, like, you know, the way that an adult could. So my thought was, like, you know, if the child didn't immediately, like, see her and be like, I'm starving, and, like, leap at her, you know. Like, the kid was kind of afraid of her even when she was calling out, just because, like, I think the kid was so shell-shocked that it was, like, just, you know, in that catatonic kind of state. But especially because, like, Stella, like, when they get on the radio and stuff, Stella's like, we're so cold. I'm like, yeah. And you hear the kid just be like, it's so cold. And I'm like, oh.
That's fair.
Like, because they've been out there for a minute, just, like, laying in the snow. And it doesn't matter if you have jackets on or anything like that. Like, you're out there long enough and you will get freezing cold.
Yeah, no, that cold is a deep cold. It seeps. Oh, at this point, too, I do want to point out that everybody looks dehydrated as fuck. Like, everyone's lips are super chapped.
Yeah.
Like, they...
emaciated, you know, like, hollow cheekbones, like, kind of. Not like intensely, but, like, you can tell people are malnourished.
Yeah, and their faces are all dirty, too. So it's not like they look pristine still. Like, they're keeping up with these people are fighting for their damn lives, which I really did appreciate. And I think you have a point about Gale. Like, she is just a kid, but in my head, I'm like, never trust the child in a horror movie. So I was not trusting her quite yet. Eben says that he's going to come and get them. And Denise is like, bro, what? There are so many. We cannot go get them. Like, this is suicide for us, for you to try and save them. And the vampires kind of gather around in like a group a little bit. And they kind of look like lost toddlers. They like are all just kind of standing there, just, what do we do now? And this is when Stella decides to say, I never should have left you, baby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess near-death experience, or, you know, very close to dying, that is what a near-death experience is shocking into your system. But
yeah, but we've also, like, my wife and I talked about this when it came to Stranger Things, the fact that, like, trauma bonding and then developing a relationship through that trauma bond is not always healthy. Um,
No.
and, like that can cause problems later in the relationship because like you may want different things in life, or like you may get to this point where like your relationship is only being held together by the fact that like you guys went through a traumatic event together, and that's not healthy. And so like, I don't know. I heard this and I was like, I get it, Stella, but also like it shouldn't take you pretty much almost losing your life multiple times for you to like snap out of it, because then like that would just create it doesn't matter.
No, I understand what you're saying. I think for me, because we don't have the context of what happened with the relationship. Oh, we did skip over. It's not important. It only goes into the relationship. But at one point, Stella says, I am glad we didn't have kids. Could you imagine, or I'm glad you didn't want kids. Could you imagine the situation we'd be in right now? And so it seems like one of the big fights was probably over the fact that Eben didn't want kids, which is like a big deal breaker. And it makes sense to be a deal breaker, because if one person wants kids and one person doesn't, that's not a compromise. Someone's like giving up what they want to do in life. Like you can't really compromise on a kid situation like that. And so that's probably one of the big fights.
That even plays into my theory from yesterday of like, her wanting to move away and him being like, well, I want to stay here, but her being like, we can't raise a kid here, or like him being like, we can't raise a kid here, so I don't want children, but I don't want to leave, like that all kind of like those pieces fit nicely together.
Yeah, they do. So it's not, I don't fault Stella for being like, I shouldn't have left you, because it is a very traumatic situation. And when you're thinking about, you're about to die, and you're thinking about all of the time that passed without you being with the person you either loved or still do love, I understand why she said it. And for her, like, this is kind of feels like her last words. Like, this is her last chance to say something to Eben about this entire situation. The only thing she can feel like she can say in this moment is, I shouldn't have left. Even if, given the situation, I don't think she would have come back in general. Like, I could see them kind of getting together again and then still having the same issues, because he doesn't want kids and he doesn't want to leave and she doesn't want to stay there. Like, you can't really make this relationship work. And it sounds like they were probably high school sweethearts, and this town is so fucking tiny. Like, that's all she knew. And so her getting out, and I think she mentioned something about going to Anchorage. I don't know if that's where the flight went to, or if she just lives in Anchorage now. Like, it's a big city. Anything's a big city compared to here, but she gets to kind of experience life and do those things. And so I don't think they would have gotten back together. And if they did, it wouldn't have worked.
And it is definitely different too. Like, it's not like their relationship started with a trauma bond, like I compared it to Stranger Things, but that is a very different scenario. Like, I speak on Nancy and Jonathan because they're pretty much together because of the shit that they went through. Whereas like with Stella and Eben, there's a lot more established there. And, maybe she needed to go out and like see more of the world to then realize, like, figure out what she wanted all along. And like, that's not a bad thing, like, you're allowed to do that. And if you go out and you realize you made a horrible mistake and that you want to go back because that's what truly made you happy, then by all means, like that's not a problem. So I totally get it. I'm cautious about those things sometimes because like my brain is always like, bitch, what about all the other underlying stuff still? Like, that didn't go away.
Well, and that's how I felt about Heart Eyes with that couple getting together, because they definitely had like the first initial attraction to each other, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be a long-lasting relationship. And then they went through the entirety of that movie and then ended up together, where I feel like that could have totally been a lot of trauma bonding.
100%.
But yeah, this one's a little bit different, just given the situation.
100%.
She tells, I believe she's the one who says the streets are filling up with oil, or it's Denise. And they look outside and someone bursts through the oil pipeline, and it is filling the streets with just this black oil, and it's just seeping into all of this snow. And you watch Marlowe as he lights a match and then drops it on one of the like lines leading into town, and then the entire town just catches on fire.
everything bursts into flames. I mean, it is like a roaring inferno as far as the eye can see. You know, it's just like, what the fuck?
I did say, though, that it's probably really nice for Stella and Gale because it probably warmed them up quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, it gets to the point where, you know, might start warming them up too much because, you know, Eben and them, they all realize, oh shit, we gotta do something because, like, they can't run because
The Horde is watching.
they're gonna get killed by vampires. They can't stay because they're gonna get burned alive. And then, like, it cuts back to Stella and Gale under the car, and a fucking light pole or an electric pole falls down, like, right next to the car, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, and they're like passing out too. Like their eyes are closing. They're kind of just going in a hypothermic cold shock or some shit. And Eben's like, I can't watch her die.
Oh god. Oh.
So he runs into the main section of the utilidor where Billy's body still is, and this entire time he's like giving orders as he's going through like a med kit and doing all the stuff. He's like, Jake, you're gonna get on the walkies, you're gonna tell them when to run, this is gonna be the plan, blah 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 blah. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, we can't fight them the way
Evan's
we are.
famous plans.
Oh, Evan, he's not wrong. But this has got to be so hard for everyone to watch because he takes a syringe. He fills that shit with Billy's blood, and then he tourniquets his arm, and everyone's like, what are you doing? You can't do this. And he's like, I watched John and Carter. They both had their senses about them for a hot second before they turned completely. I can do this. We can't fight them the way we are. I'm going to go deal with the situation. And you're like, yeah, no, that definitely fits your character arc, that you're going to deal with it however you're going to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. He injects himself. And you, like, see, after he injects it, it, like, shows a cut of his arm, and you see the blood, like, start rushing through his veins.
Oh, it's so gross.
And he very quickly, like, winces and in pain, and you can, like, tell that the pain is creeping from his arm, like, up into his neck almost, like, and just kind of, like, taking over. Oh, man.
His eyes go, like, that big, wide black pupil kind of just taking over everything, and he's in so much pain. Like, this is not an easy process. We've heard from some of the other people that have turned and stuff, like, and I think Marlowe says it too with the whole like no god. It's like they're consistently just in pain and thirsty, and there's no, yeah, they live forever most likely, but it's just an agony of existence. Mm-hmm. And you watch him just like, you just watch this poor man just struggle through it, and he gets his like coat back on, and he puts up his hood, and he like bends over and just like screams in pain, and then he like hides his eyes so he kind of looks more human, and he walks out into the fray. He gets across from the other vampires, and they're all kind of watching him, and he just goes straight for Marlowe, wailing on him. And obviously it is not a fair match because Marlowe's an experienced vampire, probably a more experienced fighter across the board, and you know, knows his strength so much more. He gets his ass kicked real hard. Like, he's getting headbutt, he's getting flung into cars, he's getting hit on the ground, he's getting his ass just kicked. And Eben looks over, he keeps glancing over to where Stella and Gale are, and they haven't moved yet. And so he ends up just screaming, go, right before he gets kicked in is he kicked in the face or the abdomen? And he like coughs up blood.
Something like that.
Marlowe grabs his arm and like just snaps it, just fucking breaks it. And then he's like staring at his teeth, and he's like, oh, you fucking asshole. I don't want more in my pack. You're going to ruin my whole existence here. And they all they do like the big like horde screech, and as like, because Eben got thrown to the ground, and they all like screech at Marlowe's victory, and Marlowe turns and like looks at them, not exactly in the praise me, but in the like, anyone else want to fucking try me type way, and he turns around.
Yeah, like.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, like the alpha, like looking back and be like, you want to fuck with me? You better not. Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. And so he turns around to go finish off Eben, and he rushes at him, who just sticks his arm out and then shoves his hand through his mouth into the back of his head and then like rips it out, and Marlowe's just doesn't have the back of his head anymore as he falls to the ground.
Yeah, Evan plunges his clawed hand through Marlowe's face, through the back of his head.
What
a
wild kill.
Yeah. And then Marlowe's body falls to the ground. You see the giant hole in it. All the other vampires are like, this dude just killed our alpha. We gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so they leave.
And all flee.
And my thing with this is like, who takes over now? I have so many again, vampire lore. I have so many questions now. Does like Kylo Ren take over because he was kind of one of the head guys? Like, what's going on? Like, Marlowe seemed to take care of a lot of stuff for them, so I don't know how prepared they are to like deal with shit on their own, right?
The pack disperses, dude. The pack disperses, and then they all just like, you know, a couple may survive, but I'm sure some of them die off because they can't take care of themselves. Like, it's, you know, like that's the natural order of things at that point. I think, right?
I would think so as well. If there's not anyone else to kind of take over the quote unquote alpha position, yeah, like the pack disperses because there's no one to lean on or turn to.
Because genuinely, the only one that I think that pack would probably follow would be Zuriel. But he got launched by the Muffin Monster. So,
well, and I don't even know if they would have followed Zuriel, because Zuriel, instead of being like a right-hand guard, he was like the brute, where it was, this is the king's fighter, not the king's like right hand.
Yeah.
And
exactly. So like, I don't even know if that would work.
That's why I was wondering if Kylo Ren vampire would have been kind of like, instead, because Zuriel felt like the brute, Iris was the queen, and then I feel like Kylo Ren was more of the advisor or that like second in command type role. So I was curious if they would follow him or not, but he doesn't seem very strong in the way that Zuriel or Marlowe was. So I don't know. It is what it is. Just vampire lore. Hopefully it's in the comic. So yeah, they disperse, and then you kind of see that dawn is happening. The sky is lightening. Stella is with Gale, and she like slowly approaches him, and she's like, "What the fuck did you do?" And he's like, "What I had to." And you're like, what a cringe line, but he says it so well that I don't feel cringe about it.
Yeah.
And then he asks if he should go after the vampires, and she's like, "No, they're fine." And in my head, I'm like, no, I really feel like you should go after the vampires because they're going to go to Wainwright or Point Hope, and this is just going to be another situation. I feel like you could...
To be fair, I don't know if didn't they like not get out of the sun in time?
We don't know. We don't know what happens to the pack because they disperse.
But there's like nothing, there's nothing for them to hide under.
They could dig a hole in snow.
Open. I mean, yeah, I guess, but...
And I don't know what happened to that ship. The ship was there, and then the ship disappeared, but I feel like they could do something. Like, the cold doesn't bother them anyway, so they could just, like, burrow in a hole like a mole or something.
Maybe, but I would think that, you know, sunlight... I don't know. I don't fucking know.
I don't know either.
We built the igloo.
They get super awesome snow skills for no reason, and they all live in an igloo. This also, okay, this part, all of the survivors come out of like the burning buildings and stuff, and there are more than the 5 people we've been following. And I was like, there's no fucking way this many people survived that chaos of them busting into this is why I was like, there's more people who survived than I think there should have been if they are allowed to go in buildings.
Yeah. No, I agree, honestly.
There's a good chunk of like maybe 15
They also like
people.
burnt a lot of it down.
Yes!
So
This whole thing is on fire still, and people are, I don't know. The amount of survivors did not jive with me. But Stella and Eben go to the first date spot, and they watch the sunrise together because he's like, Eben promised that they would do it. Again, I don't remember. At some point during this whole endeavor, he promises that they'll watch the sunrise together. And so they do, and they're kind of cuddled up. And you just watch as the sun starts to like get up on the horizon, and it hurts him. And he pulls out his wedding ring that he wears on a necklace and his shirt, and he like grips it really hard, and then Stella grips his hand, and then they like share a little kiss right before he gets just burned to a crisp, and his flesh is like sloughing off into the breeze, a la like Thanos snap style, just about.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing, not gonna lie.
And I'm just like, I'm looking at Stella's face, and it drops into one of just like stone cold fury, just about. I'm like, oh, this is her vampire slayer origin story right here.
Yeah, 100%. Like, she's gonna go hunt down the rest of them.
Yeah, and that's
And then it fades to black.
and that's the end of the movie.
Oh, wowee. Final thoughts?
I had them and I just forgot them. I did enjoy this movie. It was really fun. I think I want to watch it with the missus. It's just like a fun little movie night movie.
Yeah.
It leans very heavy into the action for me that I kind of forgot it was a horror movie. Not in a bad way, just like it's a really good action movie. And so the horror kind of really like good. Falls to the side on just, I'm so used to the stereotypical horror movie beats that this one doesn't like quite hit them in the way, but putting yourself in the situation of these characters is very terrifying.
Yes, it's an intense scenario.
Oh, I did.
Such a fun ride.
What the hell do you think these people tell the people who come back?
To be fair, there were enough survivors that I think if you had that many witness accounts and like the dead bodies to prove it, right? Because like there are dead vampires around.
But okay, so
I feel like someone would be like, I'm going to preserve this head in snow and ice until people return so that they know I'm not crazy.
Yeah, but if the sun is like, again, sloughing off this boy's flesh. Like, I don't know if they just fully disintegrate in full sunlight.
Yeah, but I mean, you could like, someone could have grabbed a head or...
I don't think like they're going to have the wherewithal for that right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's also fair. But
so I think
there's also like, again, there's plenty of witnesses to be like, dude, we got attacked by monsters. I don't know what to tell you. Look at the town.
No, I
there's so many people dead.
I honestly think it would turn into a mass hallucination due to 30 Days of Night and that the townsfolk just went crazy. I think that's a new story.
Oh, but I don't like that because that just makes everyone seem crazy.
Yeah, that's how our news works. That's probably going to be the news story. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's probably what they would sell it as. And then...
But also, like, do they get that, like, do people get the news about those tiny, like, do they even have news for that tiny little town?
Well, with a mass slaughtering of 140 people...
Yeah.
At least Wainwright in like Point Hope, I feel like I don't know if it would leave Alaska, but I feel like it would be because I feel like it would just kind of travel in the like that town that has 30 Days a Night, they went a little cuckoo and everyone would be like, yeah, fucking makes sense. No one should be doing that.
But also like the people from those other like small towns seem to know at least like Eben and like Stella. I feel like those relationships are intimate enough to where she could even be like, look at all these witnesses. Shit was fucked. I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just...
You're hoping for the good in humanity,
like,
but people don't like what they don't understand, and they would rather take the answer of people went crazy than vampires exist.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, there is that.
But it's fine. We never get great endings really from horror movies. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we get happy endings, but it's very rare. And usually those happy endings come with a million caveats, so it's fine.
Have you watched 30 Days of Night Dark Days?
No.
2010,
I have
based
not.
on the comic book miniseries as well. It has a different director, but Steve is still in this. It's the second installment of the 30 Days of Night franchise.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch it then. I don't care if it's bad.
Set chronologically after the first film, it also takes place after the 2 television miniseries. There's miniseries?
What?
Yeah, Blood Trails and Dust to Dust.
Okay.
This takes place a year after Barrow.
Okay. Well,
Well then.
I have to look into that stuff then.
Yeah.
Well, just like you viewers, listeners have something to watch, we do too. I would say go watch this movie.
Oh yeah. Add it to the fucking list. It's a pretty good vampire movie.
Yeah.
Great action movie. And
Fantastic.
besides all the gore, I would say it's like pretty, maybe like a level 3. There's a lot of blood, guts, and gore, but there's not a lot of like jump scares or real like tension building scenes. It's again very actiony.
Yeah, 100%. Go watch it.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Follow our Instagram and threads at No Self Service Pod. Until next time.